Hello, good evening, and welcome everyone to an episode 46, a singular episode 46 of Passion Project, the speedrun and gaming variety show that encourages anyone and everyone in the speedrun and competitive gaming communities to showcase their passions in games. My name is Amber Cyprin. I will be your host tonight, and if you've got a passion project of your own, go to gdq.gg/hotfix, find the How section near the top of the page, and click the link to submit it to the show. And whether that's grinding speedruns, learning and routing new categories, or breathing new life into a game in unconventional ways, Passion Project is the best place on Twitch to show the world what you love the most in speedrunning and gaming. Before we get started with the showcase that we have planned for tonight, I just want to remind folks that our Hotfix Summer merch collection is now live. If you haven't seen it yet, you can head over to theyeti.com/GDQ to check out our brand new Hotfix shirt, keychain, and sticker pack. I can also show you a picture of it right here. It's fantastic. If you're a fan of Sonic the Hedgehog, you'll recognize the aesthetic of the melted ice cream mascot keychain we've got going on here. I love this, and I'm going to pick it up myself. And of course, Frame Fatales, GDQ's all-women and femme speedrun community, is gearing up for their next event, Flame Fatales, happening September 7th through the 14th, and you should stay tuned for the schedule release in early July. And speaking of July, if you are headed to SGDQ, well, I'll be there, but you can also visit the Frame Fatales table. They're going to be hosting a frame changer panel and organizing 2 community meetups, which are very awesome for what I've heard. Type !FF in chat to join the Discord and stay up to date with all things Frame Fatales. So, tonight on Passion Project, we are continuing the Final Fantasy trend that As Seen on TV started tonight, as I am joined by Moonblaze Wolf and his commentators for a run of Final Fantasy X using its cutscene remover mod. Thank you all so much for being here tonight. How are y'all doing?
Yeah, hey everybody. Happy Pride. Happy 626 Day to all my monster fans out there. My name is Moonblaze Wolf. You can call me Blaze. I'm very passionate about Final Fantasy X, so I'm really excited to be on Amber's show. Just as a quick example, we'll talk about some more stuff later. But I did actually just get this yesterday. I am rocking a Behemoth Kigurumi. And this is actually designed specifically around the Final Fantasy X Behemoth. So I love this game. I love pretty much everything about it. And I've got 2 friends along with me who also love this game, and I'll let them introduce themselves now.
Hello, I'm Ciliath. I'm a wolf on the internet. I often speedrun Final Fantasy 9 and 10. Recently, I have raced against Blaze live at FWA, or the Furry Week in Atlanta, where he won the tiebreaker 3-2 in an outstanding race. And soon I will be running Final Fantasy 9 HD CSR live on the SGDQ main stage July 12th.
Very excited for that. And King?
Yeah, hi. My name is King. I'm also a really big fan of Final Fantasy X. Getting more familiar with the speedrunning world itself, just starting out in December of last year. I also run Final Fantasy X. Super excited to see how this run is going to go.
Yeah, and I think we'll talk about some of our various history with this game as we get into it. Because it's a cutscene remover, it actually does start off pretty intensely. But I just wanted to very quickly recap a little bit of my speedrunning history with this game. So I've been a speedrunner since 2018. Final Fantasy IV Randomizer was the thing that got me into speedrunning. So I've basically always been a Final Fantasy and JRPG speedrunner, with a few exceptions along the way. But I decided going into 2022 that I wanted to finally run an actual Final Fantasy game, and 10 has been one of my favorites. There was a really great video from Dr. Swellman that I saw. It came out in October of 2021. And it was all about how they solved the RNG in this game finally. And we'll talk about what that means as we're going through this run today. Because I am going to be trying to do RNG manipulation throughout the run. But then at that point, there was no cutscene remover mod. But I figured, what the heck, I'll jump in and give it a shot. 3 days before the end of 2021, I even went and checked the Discord to confirm the exact date. I joined the Final Fantasy X speedrunning server, and then 2 days later, they released the cutscene remover. So boy, that was good timing on my part, because cutscene remover removes about 5.5 to 6 hours from the any percent run, depending on your time and all of that. So it takes what's usually about a 9-hour run, and it knocks it down to about 3.5 hours. So, something you can actually do after a day at work. So and that's
I did not realize it was that much time save.
It's so much. There's a lot of dialogue and FMVs and different cutscenes and things like that in this game. So But yeah, I'm really excited to show off what the cutscene remover mod does. One big thing, it doesn't remove any gameplay. So anything that I would have to perform, except for a couple skips that are kind of cutscene related anyways. But there's still a giant skip in this run and a couple other really cool speedrun things too. So this is also a glitched run, and we'll talk about that as we're going through too. But I want to go ahead and get started so we can get this show on the road. So time will start when I confirm these options here. So I get to pick my soundtrack and some other stuff. And we'll go ahead and start the timer in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Good luck. Have fun.
Yeah, thank you. So we're dropped immediately into Xanarkand, and I will let my commentators talk a little bit about what's going on here at the beginning of the run.
Yeah, so you want to start it off?
So, King, how heartbroken are you right now that it was arranged versus original?
That's why I wanted you to talk first, so that way I can cry internally a little bit. But that's all right. That's okay. It's no, it's a good time. I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it.
Fun fact, I only ever PB on the original soundtrack, so I'm also crying a little bit, but this is just a showcase, so I'm not going to be trying to PB anyways. So.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for the OG, of course.
I feel like I'm the only one who appreciates arranged. But yeah, so if you guys haven't really noticed it by now, as Blaze was mentioning, cutscenes are gone, so unfortunately we're not getting that awesome FMV with the jet theme or the Otherworld soundtrack. We're not watching Blitzball being played out in the greatest. So this is what makes this category or this run a lot more fun, a lot more enjoyable. I don't see more enjoyable. It depends on what you're trying to do. Like for me, when I first started running, CSR was a great tool to kind of learn a run, see if you really wanted to practice it, see if you wanted to get into longer form content. So actually, when I did my first any % run the other day, or not the other day, a couple months ago now, I've only done one attempt, and I was actually able to push the leaderboards pretty crazily. So part of the RNG tracking that Blaze is doing that I had forgot already what to do is to do for myself anyway. So I said I was going to assist on it. Is he's writing down the first 3 attacks and like their numerical value. He'll enter them into a program that is actually going to tell us what RNG seed we're going to be in. So there's, what is it, 256 RNG seeds?
Yes, there are.
So the run doesn't really deviate, at least in the beginning, too much more from that. So we can predict every encounter, every preempt, ambush, drop from over the remainder of the run. Ultimately, for the final goal of getting an item called the No Encounter Armor. We don't know which of the 8 main characters is going to get it. We won't see it until the Cavern of the Stolen Faith. But if we were to do RNG tracking perfectly up until that point, we'll know when to get that, if we'll be able to get that armor in a reasonable amount of time, which can ultimately save us about 8 minutes. So, no pressure coming in from, minute 1, second 1, over the course of the run.
Yep, so I already know what seed I'm on for the run, based on those first 3 damage values like Syl was talking about. Things that impact the drops, I'm mainly concerned about manipulating the drops, although it is very good to know like what encounters you're on and what encounters you're going to get, things of that nature. But things that affect what drops I will get are steals and kills, as well as deaths of my characters. So those are the main things I'm going to be logging as I go through the run, because the game still has RNG on a lot of other fronts. So I'm going to have to be responsive to what the game throws at me in terms of, if one of my characters dies in a fight, for example, or if I have to do a different fight that the game might not necessarily expect me to do in every instance. So I need to be tracking those things as I'm going through the run. All right, now we're up to the tanker fight. I'm kind of doing what's seemingly a little bit of random stuff, but this is actually the fastest way to get to the end of the fight, is to change Titus's weapon 3 times and have Orin attack himself. So we're doing that.
You know, I shamefully watched the VOD to get all those damage values so I can see what seed you're on now.
I haven't scrolled
Whoops.
down too far, but at least in terms of like where the drops are mapped, it doesn't look too bad. So I am doing a random seed. There is a separate tool that I'm not using because it is not very friendly to like event setup, where you can actually manipulate what seed you're on. It's kind of like a seed picker, but you have to reload seeds until you get the one that you're looking for, and it can be a little bit of a tedious process. It's not guaranteed that you'll be able to go from like seed A to the seed that you want in one go. Sometimes you have to reset a bunch of times before you can get into the particular cluster where the seed that you want is. So we're just running a random seed tonight. We'll see what it is. We'll see if it does offer up a no encounter armor to me at some point. But in the meantime, I'm just going to be focused on playing the game as well as I can for y'all tonight. So.
And you also mess about with a category where you don't worry about manipulating the RNG. Is that right?
Yeah, so there was actually something else that was developed after the CSR, which is called the True RNG. It's not a mod, it's just a setting in the cutscene remover. And basically, people wanted a way to play the game without tracking and without feeling pressured to track necessarily. So the True RNG mod actually does what you would expect. It actually makes the RNG truly random so that you are not able to track what seed you're on. And also, there is a board for it, and as part of the rules, you're actually not allowed to get a no encounter armor, because in theory, you could kind of like run True RNG seeds until you manage to wander in and get one luckily, but the whole point is that you're not doing that, so
Yeah.
it's actually not allowed by the category rules, which, you know, it's just fun. It's very casual. It's like playing an actual randomizer, which to me, that's kind of how I got into speedrunning in the first place. So I love just kind of rolling a random Final Fantasy X seed and doing the run just for fun.
So for me, when it comes to true RNG versus any percent, I give anyone a lot of credit. If you running any percent with RNG tracking and doing a CSR, overstimulating. I don't know how Blaze does it. And the one time I tried it, I went right away. I went, nope, never again. I can at least do it during the cutscenes, because during the cutscene time, I can, you know, slow down, do the math.
Yeah, the funny so I'm going to be doing like a lot of data entry during this run, which is part of why I'm really glad I have two very good commentators with me. But it's actually harder to do the RNG tracking in the CSR, because all of those times, like Sil was alluding to, when you would have the downtime to actually do the data entry, you're actually just like focused on doing the run instead. It's all stripped out, so.
Yeah, that's insane, the amount of information that you have to keep in mind and write down, and yeah, so you're props to you for even attempting it. Blaze is insane. Maybe one day I'll try it.
It's fun when it works. I'll just say that. I'm not like I'm not worried about actually getting it in every run, but it is fun when it comes together, I will say. So, all right. So the first thing I'm gonna do, I've looked at my steal map, and my second steal with Riku here is a fail. So I'm actually just gonna only go ahead and steal once, and then we'll just go ahead and fight on the boss here. But
I think your third is a steal rare, isn't it?
I didn't take a super close look. I thought I saw a fail, so I kind of was just going with that. But I'll try to take a peek here while I have a second, because I can actually still do the steal again. Yeah, it says my second steal is a fail, so
I think this up right.
That's all good.
My goodness.
I can tell you what seed number I'm on in a second, if that would be helpful. You can just reload.
Does it end in 960?
Yeah.
See, this is why I already don't get RNG tracking. I'm already off the rails, and I've barely even started.
I'm just hearing numbers.
I don't need you two to back me up on that. I appreciated the offer, Sil, but yeah, we're okay. So. The only thing I have done so far is I deleted out the second steal, so from Click. Everything else looks pretty standard at this point, so. These should be single grenades each. Our goal, by the way, is to get 6 grenades by the next boss fight, because he is... we like throwing grenades at the next boss. I'm currently at 4, and I'll have 1 more encounter where I can steal 2 more.
Mm-hmm. Where did these fish eat all these grenades?
Just they're just walking around with grenades in their pockets, I guess. I don't know.
I just like to think that the Alabama just like dropped the box real quick, and the Pradas were just like that hungry.
I need food.
I actually have 2 good. I'm looking ahead a little bit. I don't like to look too far ahead because it can distract you from what you're doing. But I also have a very good lagoon coming up where I have 2 fightable encounters, which is nice. Because a little bit later on in the run, Titus will get the flee ability, which is very much appreciated. But until then, you're kind of manually running from the fights that you don't want to do. And that is not guaranteed. It can be kind of an annoying way to lose time in this run, sort of randomly, because it's not even tied to the RNG at all.
So hungry.
They're
No,
very
you're
hungry.
munching on them.
One other quick note, I'll just mention, Turbo is allowed in this category, so I do use Turbo. It works very nicely with the memory setting that the game does for menus and things like that. So if I have like Titus just attacking nonstop, I can just hold the Turbo down and he'll always do that. So.
Ooh.
And I don't
that
have
brings
to
a
destroy
question.
my thumb. It's win-win. So.
That brings a question for me real quick, because now I'm curious. Do you have it set as a toggle or a hold?
I set mine as a hold.
There you go.
I have a separate. So I have like the normal. It's like the A button or whatever. So I have the normal A button, and then I mapped a second one that is my turbo button. So I just, depending on whether I want to use turbo or not, I just hit one or the other button. So
Wonderful. I did the same thing. I set it. Mine is personally set as my select or back button. And I used to have it as toggle, and I kept forgetting that it would be on.
It's where you go to the be at a high road and you just yeet that kid
You
blitz
would
ball.
kick the ball.
I have the opposite problem sometimes, which is where I just kind of like space out and like lay on the turbo in moments where I don't want to, and that's when you like armor break an enemy later on in the game instead of like fleeing or something like that. So
or talk to Shalinda.
Or talk
put
to
a spear
Shalinda,
back.
or putting a spear back. That's also very common. Yep.
We love that.
Yeah.
See, I like the toggle because you could find an extra bathroom break or 3.
See, yeah, that's a gamba.
Well, we know Sil loves his gambles, so.
Yeah, he does love his gambles.
I'm not the one named Gamba Panda though.
I have someone in chat. I'll go for it.
No, go ahead.
I have someone in chat asking, "Oh my gosh, when did FFX get or Final Fantasy X get a cutscene remover?" Apparently, 2 days after Blaze here joined the community for the speedrun.
Yeah, it was right at the very end of 2021. So this is one of the earlier ones, I will say. Since then, Sil can talk about this a little bit. Probably FF9 has a cutscene remover now. I know FF8 has a cutscene remover now. I'm not as sure about some of the other ones, but a lot of games have cutscene removers now. Yeah,
that's crazy. That's insane that they have them. Also, big shout out to Scintilla VT in the chat for using the Bartillo emote from Final Fantasy X. Wonderful.
Yeah, the CSR has definitely become a lot popular. As I alluded to a little bit ago, when I first started running Final Fantasy IX, I faced early retirement due to an injury. So it was something that, like, speedrun was a fun hobby, gave me something to do. It was very exciting. But I kept, like, making mistakes later in the run, but you were, like, burning, like, 7 hours into a day. And I was like, oh, my goodness. Like, and people go, like, they spend 10 hours making all these saves and all that. Then, like, CSR came out. And the next thing you know, I was getting, like, 3 runs in. It was easier to go back, make the saves, remove the cutscene remover, and then get back into your next run. So it was something that was just so exciting, and brought a lot of life into the category. And now it's something I've actually almost run primarily as my competitive leaderboard. So I think Bobcat is the one who did the 1 for 9. So shout out to him. I can't remember who did 10 off the top of my head.
It's cool. I just like how it makes it it's accessible for people
Yeah.
to get.
Accessible would be the word I'd use. Yeah.
Yeah, and for me, starting to get into the world of speedrunning from as early as just December of last year,
Wow.
10 was already like a childhood favorite game of mine. So not only did it finally encourage me or motivate me to be like, oh hey, maybe I can do this. Because originally I would see runs and it'd be like 8+ hours. Oh no, I don't know how to do that. I don't think I can sit still for that long. But no, it's yeah, it's encouraged me to really get into it, and I'm really happy. I'm really happy that it's around.
Yeah, the cutscene removers are just incredibly popular in my experience in basically every game that has them, which doesn't diminish like the full game categories or runs either. It's a nice
No.
like accessible option in a lot of ways, and I'm really glad that it makes it easier for more people to speedrun these games because I could take this, I could practice a CSR, and then I could sit down and do an actual run of Final Fantasy X without the cutscene remover, and about 98% of what I would be doing would be exactly the same. There's a little bit of extra stuff that you have to do. There's some funky like FMV skip shenanigans that you can do, and there's a couple other like legitimate sequence break type skips, very, very minor ones, that the cutscene remover kind of takes out. Because they were intended to skip cutscenes, funnily enough. But yeah, like it's so much of it is just transferable too if you want to play the original game as well. So the funny thing is you'll see a lot of times like casual players will want to come in and use the cutscene remover to just play the game casually, and
Yeah.
we'll talk about this a little bit more later, one specific instance, but you can't just kind of like take all the cutscenes out of the game and expect it to function normally. So there are certain things that I kind of joke about. They're like load-bearing cutscenes, and if you were to, if those were to be removed or if they were to be altered or whatever, more like in the things that are on the more casual side, like the cutscene remover just doesn't function. It just crashes. It doesn't know what to do. So.
I think the only other thing I'm grateful for, at least for me, is if you're a disabled gamer, you really want to get into speedrunning too. It's definitely the way to go. My injuries, I can't sit still some days for more than 4 hours, so I can get a 3.5-hour speed run. I might be just a little antsy at the end, especially when a lot of the leaderboard categories allow for like the turbo uses. So there's no tremor that will sneak through, hopefully, over the course of a run.
I've been thrilled that more and more speedrun communities have been allowing accessibility or like various like either accessibility options or mods that make speedruns more accessible, or controller options like the Legend of Zelda the Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom community allow turbo to be used in their runs because that game is 60% gameplay, 40% cutscene. So huge shout outs to like this community as well, offering turbo as an option alongside the cutscene remover. I think that is incredible.
Yeah, and I want to give a shout out to both the FF9 and FF10 communities. The FF8 one might have this as well. I think 9 was the first one I saw that had it. But they actually do have a break time that's actually built into the cutscene remover. Like it actually takes you to a break screen and says, "Hey, take a 5-minute break if you want it."
Yeah.
I just think that stuff like that is great too. A little bit ironically because I have to do my favorite line here. 1 second.
Stay away from the summoner.
Thank you.
That is purely for the memes. I do not have to do that, but I feel like it blesses the run. But yeah, they actually went and added the 5-minute break option to the 10 cutscene remover as well. Ironically, because the run, kind of like I was alluding to when I was talking about the RNG tracking earlier, it just makes it so intense when you take the cutscenes out, because those are kind of like your natural downtime in runs a lot of the time.
Yeah.
So it really does push you a lot more without something like that being present. So I really appreciate that from even just as someone who doesn't necessarily need accessibility, like I just need a break during a run sometimes.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
sometimes I want to play a Twitch ad and keep pre-rolls off for my community, you know? It's just like there's so many reasons that it's nice to put that break in the middle of a long speed run. So
Yeah,
Right, forget you.
more communities are doing that too, and allowing breaks in runs, like at designated points, or like, hey, you can take
Yep.
up to this much time as break, split it up however you want, or take one long particular break, and it won't count against your time. That sort of thing. I love that.
yeah, I also run Final Fantasy 16, which has a kind of DIY break rule as part of the new game any percent run, which is about 7.5 hours long. So
Told you. If you can't beat
It's like
'em
KO
down,
points that well. But
let's
sometimes we've all been there. Panda will learn one day soon. You'll have the day where you reset for 2 hours, forget to use the bathroom and all of that. Next thing you know, you're 4 hours of the stream and went, oh no.
Yeah, that's a big fear of mine.
the perils of being an RPG speedrunner. Yeah. Or just a long game speedrunner. I wouldn't even say RPG speedrunner, but
Well,
it does
I'm
kind of
thankful
come
for
with the
breaks.
territory. So
Yeah, Sonic Adventure 2 all emblems or 180 emblems or even 171 emblems like is a very long category for me.
Yeah.
For example, like I've done 180 emblems on the GameCube and my time's like 14 and a half hours from way
Yeah.
back when. And thankfully we have like, 3 sets of credits and chow races where we could just kind of relax, and the
Yeah.
downtime in long game speedruns cannot be understated or underrated.
yeah. I do have to be a little bit careful in this fight with Kamari here because I can actually die. I have not gotten a crit yet, so I'm gonna play it safe and just heal up here. He can outdamage you basically if you don't heal, unless you get a crit, then it's safe. But I hadn't gotten one yet, so we're just gonna play it safe and not wipe to our big blue friend here.
Yeah, big meow meow.
Yeah, this would have killed me if I hadn't healed. So
Of course, you high roll in the last one.
of course.
Keep you on your toes.
Yeah, this game loves to throw useless crits at you, which I love. I love that about this game. Thank you, game. You're fun. You're fun like that.
As a competitive Pokemon player, I know exactly what that feels like. Ah, that crit did not matter.
Yes. Yep. Can I save that for later? All right. So this is going to be a little bit of a slower fight because this is kind of we're doing a little bit of like tutorial city here, but this is our summon tutorial with Yuna, the true hero of the story here. And Siller
Can't
King,
wait
do you
till
want to
she's
just
full.
kind of talk about what we're trying to do here? Couple things.
Go ahead,
Yeah.
Panda.
Oh, okay, fantastic. So we're gonna be so actually we're being introduced to the game's mechanics of
refresh my browser where I'm also watching the stream. Hi, chat. Yeah, I've just been watching this Garuda like sway hypnotically. The beauties of a turn-based RPG, right? Yeah.
All right, go ahead and count us back in.
Yeah, I can count us back in. So 3, 2, 1, go. And we'll just pick up right where we left off with me casting Thunder over and over on this thing to build my overdrive meter. What I was, I just so I can re-explain what that fight was all about. We summoned Valifor, who is our first Aeon, and then we were building our overdrive meter for the next boss fight. Because overdrives are very powerful. And now I'm going to do my first sphere grid. Siller King, do you want to talk about the sphere grid a little bit?
So,
So the sphere grid, the almighty sphere grid, is going to be the system that we use to break the entirety of this game here soon. If you guys don't know what's about to happen, Yuna, by the end of this game, Yuna could be very swole. And she's going to hit very hard.
right. Yeah, it's the sphere grid is a very unique upgrading system, as most games that you'll be encountering. When you level up, you're kind of sometimes just given things right automatically. Level 2, you get this thing. Level 5, you get this thing. Here, you have a like a visual board that you can see and pick and choose what you want for these characters. So there's a lot of options and different ways of building your characters in the game and such, but we're not going to do any of that. On here, we're going to go through a specific path, picking and choosing certain stats and abilities for characters, or even just moving characters along the board just to move them, so that way we can set them up for other characters to jump around on this upgrade board for
It will
for the purpose.
make every return and friend sphere like gold. But as a result, we do need to kind of keep track of how many strength and speed spheres that we're getting. Other stats are kind of moot. We will pick up the occasional mana sphere sphere item. MP can be relevant, especially with Titus's haste early on, but for the most part, it's the only real counting that we're doing. So that at a couple points we check in, just, hey, got enough strength, got enough speed? Good. All right, continue on.
Yep. Money is also pretty tight in this route, so you notice I talked to that NPC for 400 gil. We gotta watch our money, especially early on. There's a couple optional chests that I'll go pick up just to make sure that everything's safe, but it's routed pretty well so that it's consistent with some safeties involved. So
Absolutely. Veriphage in the chat says, the sphere grid, the grid for spheres, the grid made specifically to hold spheres. True words.
We did explain it kind of goobery. Mostly me at the start.
Yeah. And this fight's a really good example of just kind of like how we're working within the confines of the turn-based battle system. So maybe y'all can just sort of talk about what Valifor's doing here.
Yeah, so with Valifor, we're that overdrive meter that we ended up just building out, and back in Besaid during the Garuda fight, we needed to go ahead and build up that meter to do like this devastation attack that can only be utilized when that bar is filled. From there, we're just going ahead trying to cast a repeated thunder spell onto that large fin that is very terrifying and does so much, such as swim around to the left and to the right. So devastating. Well, at the same time, you're noticing that Valifor is actually getting that overdrive meter back up by taking those attacks from the spine insect-looking enemies that are right in front of it. Once we get that secondary overdrive meter filled up once again, we're not going to use it here. We're going to use it later, but we're just trying to build it up to save, just for the moment.
Yep. Yeah. So there's probably faster ways to win this fight. But this is the way that also sets me up to win the next fight, which is just as important. So
Yeah, setup is something that we're going to be seeing a lot in this run. So there'll be moments where you might be thinking, "Oh wait, Blaze could have just done this fight right then and there and just finished it off, right?" Well, yes, but it also is very beneficial to just get ourselves prepared for the upcoming encounters, whether it's equipping a specific sword or doing a formation change or making sure that someone has an overdrive ready. It's all for setup.
A couple questions in the chat. I think only Blaze might know the answer for this.
okay.
Because you've been in the category much longer. Why no more Energy Blast, if you know?
It's not needed anymore because we do the big Mushroom Rock Road skip now, and that a lot of what was done, we used to actually go back into Besaid Village to get Valfor's second overdrive. We don't do that anymore because we skip all of Mushroom Rock Road now, and I'm excited to show that off in a little bit here, so you definitely want to stick around for that.
Yeah, that's
but
really
that's
cool.
the most recent big thing that changed this run. So if you haven't seen a Final Fantasy X run in a couple years, you might be a little surprised what happens in about 45 minutes. Ooh, that was a good crit. Okay, that was a very important crit, actually.
I would say when I first got into learning the run, you have to read the guide. Everyone kept saying you have to read the guide, and I was going through it, and it said, "All right, you did the Cloister of Trials, and now you leave and go to the fight tutorials." And I said to myself, "Wait a minute, no energy blast?"
Yeah, the changes, this run got very, very extensively rerouted after this most recent skip was found, and it's pretty incredible how much it's changed the run. So, and it was, I don't want to get too far ahead because we'll talk about it a little more later, but it also works on the PS2 version, so it goes all the way back. Every version of this game, you can do the skip that I'm going to do in about 45 minutes. So,
Oh yeah, the notes for this, it goes up a mile. Unlike like 9, where PSX has its own route, HD has its own route, and it gets chaotic.
yeah.
But that's
One
why
thing-
cool, though.
Yeah.
it stresses read every line.
Yeah, but that's cool because that means that
yeah.
there's so much effort put into formulating all of these routes.
Yeah, the thing I will say about this game, and it's a little bit of a blessing and a curse, but like I think this is probably the most beginner-friendly RPG speedrun that's out there, that a lot of people will at least kind of know the game or have played it casually. The great thing about the notes for this game is if you follow the notes for this game, your run will succeed every single time. If you screw anything up, your run will fail every single time. So
Yep.
gotta learn the route, gotta learn the notes. That's just how it be.
You're to say you don't want to be live at FWA and skip a line, not realize it until the bitter end.
Yeah,
Like me.
it happens to the best of us. So you also learn how to improvise playing this game. So
if you do deviate from the notes in the slightest, it will show itself very quickly. It can almost be instantaneously in the next fight. You're like, oh, I felt like, the turn order didn't feel right out there. And if you're like me, you forget about that. You're nervous in front of a bunch of furries in your first live speedrun event. You completely overlook the 4 warning signs.
It happens. It's fine.
I would equate MMR to be like Calm and 7.
Anyone thirsty?
Yeah, it's that big of a deal for sure.
We still focus
so I'm
on
going to
the
be
same
fighting
route here, right?
certain enemies while I'm going through Kilika Woods here. Again, I am manipulating this run, so I know what encounters I'm going to get. This one is pretty light on fights that I actually want to do, but it should be enough to set me up for the rest of the run, so I'm not terribly concerned about that.
Man, the foresight. Here I am, taking each step, hoping I don't get a plant, and you can just see it ahead of time.
Yep.
Oh my goodness.
It's the beauty of tracking the RNG.
I was crying earlier. I was like, plant. I'm just getting plant.
Oh, hold on. I messed up my frame rate. There we go. King talked about crying and it made me sad.
Would it stop you from trying to farm at the end, though, Panda?
Yeah. Well, I like haste. I like making sure I get my haste before I get into the fights in Luca.
Nothing wrong with that. So
No.
yeah, we're gonna
No.
use Valfor again on this boss fight, and we immediately open with that energy ray again. It takes out the hands or whatever the ads are for this thing, and then gets it out of its thin candy shell. So
Staccato. Staccato. I think actually this is even the next overdrive is the last time that we use Valfor's overdrive.
yep,
I
this
think
is
Valfor in
actually.
general.
Yeah, we used to use Valfor a lot more. This is actually the last fight we'll use Valfor in this run. So, all the Valfor fans out there,
At least we got something. Crumbs.
best girl in the run, Valfor.
Yeah. Staccato.
And then we can go to Blaze's favorite place, Puzzle Church.
Oh yes. Well, we already. I forgot to even mention it. We already did one Puzzle Church. So yeah,
I was
the
waiting for
gameplay
it.
loop for the gameplay loop for this game is you do some fighting, you do some dungeon crawling, and then you do an encounter-free puzzle section in the various temples that a good friend of mine, Scala Kitty, dubbed Puzzle Church, and now I just cannot get it out of my head. So yeah, so now we're going to the second Puzzle Church. This is the Flaming Puzzle Church, and we'll kind of do these puzzles. I have done them so many times at this point that I just have them memorized pretty much. But I remember when I was growing up, some of these really, really took some time. Or I think they sold probably more Prima guides than anything in Final Fantasy history, so...
Yeah. Yeah. Shout out to all of our lost gamers still stuck in the Makalania Temple to this day, frozen.
Yep. Keep at it. You'll get out of there eventually.
Yeah. Stop pushing that pedestal off the ledge. You'll get there.
I remember growing up. I was still young enough when 10 came out that even Kilika here was a challenge. Now that I speedrun it, I almost look back and be like, come on.
Yeah.
Come on, Sil.
So there's a couple things about these that, like, I mean, I kind of get it. Like, so for the most part, there's also like an optional part to each of these temples that we're not doing. They're actually relevant to the mechanics of the game, which is really cool for environmental storytelling. There is something in each temple called a destruction sphere, and if you get the destruction sphere, you get a special treasure. But in addition to the special treasure, if your Aeons get strong enough, they can break the level cap or the damage cap. So in traditional Final Fantasy history, damage is capped at 9999. However, if you have a Aeon that you've found their relevant destruction sphere in their temple, they can break that damage cap and go above 999. We will be doing 5-digit damage with Bahamut later on to take advantage of this. But also, in the storytelling of the game, Bahamut is the one where you are actually required to get that destruction sphere as part of escaping the temple, which is just kind of cool in retrospect. So.
Actually, I didn't even know that until we started speedrunning the game. I always thought that was just kind of coincidental. Because
Yeah,
I also remember the items from a lot of these are not great except Yuna's staff out of Basades.
I mean, I think part of it too is it's just like, I remember when I played this game casually, I didn't like the summons because they kind of just took a lot of time, and you know, what, I can just swing a sword with Titus and do a lot of damage. I should just do that. But it turns out that Yuna is the key to making number big. So
Yeah.
shoutouts to Yuna and getting to the gym and putting the work in.
The destruction spheres, I remember I needed to definitely get a guide to kind of show me how to attain them. When I was younger, I could not take context clues around the environment. There was like flashing walls, and Jose didn't see that. What I did find was really cool, and and I go back to it every now and then. But when you go to the Besaid Temple for the very first time, you're told there's a summoner in there, but you're not told their name at all. If you were to get the Destruction Sphere
You guys are toast.
at Besaid Temple, you get a rod, like a magic rod for Yuna. So if you get that chest, you still don't know the summoner's name that's in the temple, and you go into your inventory, it will say that rod is meant for Yuna. So you do get to learn her name before you even get to actually meet her. So that was pretty cool.
That is cool. Yeah, there's a lot I like about this game. I think there's a lot of subtlety to the way the story is told that just I don't know. I think they did a lot of things right in this game, and it's part of why it's such a special game to me still. So,
Marcus says,
Actually,
thanks, cool, Yuna.
I actually need to ask, y'all are talking about, you know, how much you enjoy the game, and some of y'all have mentioned that it's a childhood favorite of yours. How many people in chat and also in this call started with Final Fantasy X? Or if you didn't start with 10, where was your starting point? Because for me, my first Final Fantasy game was Dirge of Cerberus. And I unironically love that game.
What a game that is. Oh my goodness.
I love that game. I don't care what the haters say.
I need a remake of that right away. Stat, please.
For real. Like, I'm not even joking. It had a multiplayer mode and everything that we didn't really get in the US.
I'll go first. I played Final Fantasy 1 on the NES. I will say 10 is my favorite. It has resonated the most with me over the years, in part because I was a sports kid growing up and my dad is an alcoholic. So there you go. Just throwing that out there.
Okay, Titus.
Yeah, I'm basically Titus. Yeah.
He's a dream.
I'm also 1,000 years old. No, it only feels that way sometimes.
You're right.
God, that's a mood.
I'll go second there. So I was introduced to Final Fantasy from watching my brother play 7 a lot. But I wasn't allowed to play it because even if I tried, I didn't know what I was doing. But 10 was the first one that I actually got to really sit down and play. I remember the day that my dad bought the PS2 and he got a copy of the game, and I sat there and I would watch him play it. And he wasn't the greatest gamer. He would also get stuck at Puzzle Church too. But when I would play the game, I fell in love with the characters, the world, the music. Oh my goodness! And it's really been a Final Fantasy fan ever since then, really. But I never got the chance to play the older ones until recently because of the Pixel remaster that came out. And now I'm like going through 1 through 6 right now. I'm on FF6 and I'm like, oh my gosh, things that I thought were like always present because I'd only played 10. Turns out they weren't in 1 or they weren't in 2 because you could see like the concepts of like the idea that this mechanic is going to be happening really soon, and it's neat. So definitely 10 is holding near and dear to me forever.
A quote from my mother, she said, I only bothered to learn how to read for Final Fantasy VII, so that's where I started. I was young enough that I couldn't figure out that during the bombing mission and the initial mission that you had to hit circle to go up that ladder one more time, so I let the timer run out and I got frustrated.
Oh gosh, I'm remembering, and I don't remember which friend, so I'm not going to say a name, but I very distinctly remember a games friend that I know who talked a lot about playing this game as a kid, but they didn't have a memory card.
Oh
so
my goodness.
They basically couldn't turn it off, or they would they would have to start over, but also that was okay because the beginning of the game was so cool. So
the console was putting in work.
Game over would also be pretty detrimental.
Yeah, that too. Yep.
Talk about a hardcore run. refuse to accept Aerith's death with the saddest in Final Fantasy history. I still remember the house or the place I lived at the time in Aerith's death, and I watched my mom go through that cutscene and watch Aerith die, and then I went in my little room to cry. Again, couldn't read, didn't understand the impact of it, still cried. It was great.
That is a universal mood for sure. So.
Ooh.
Also got me good during Rebirth, I won't lie. I was streaming to a bunch of friends' Discord. They're like, Sil, why aren't you doing very well in the combat anymore? I'm just like...
So yeah, that's a little bit of background and context from me and for us. I was supposed to attack there. That's fine. We'll make it work. This fight's been a little weird anyway because the second fight is just supposed to be Lulu casting Thunder twice, but for some reason the turn order was not conducive to that. So I'm just trying to make it through now. By the way, Yuna got kidnapped. Yuna gets kidnapped a lot in this game, so that is one on the Yuna getting kidnapped counter.
I forgot that she.
Oh yeah, Final Fantasy X.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that's right. This is a rescue mission right now.
I'm just playing a game over here, y'all. You know, I don't know.
We're not just going on a boat.
Yeah. By the way, and we didn't talk about this at the time, but another ill-fated boat ride in a Final Fantasy game. Tell me where you've seen that one before.
I go through the
did get
Pixel
haste
Remaster,
for this. I did get enough AP for haste for this upcoming boss fight, so this will make it a little bit faster, which is nice. So, and this is the first of kind of like the gimmicky boss fights in this game. This game really had a lot of really cool ideas about how to do boss fights a little bit different. I've heard them referred to as like bespoke boss fights before. Just because they each have, a lot of them each have kind of like their own mechanics and, you know, just like goofy little interactions and things like that. So in this one, we are using Lulu to charge up the crane, and then Titus is going to use the crane. First, a little dodgeball practice.
Lulu really has it out for this crane.
So I'm not able to get a lightning weapon here. That is one of the things I'm kind of tracking for on the RNG tracker here. I know based on what I've seen and entered so far that I'm going to get a harpoon for Kamari. So normally if you didn't know what you were going to get, you would let Titus end this fight because the character who gets the killing blow actually has a better chance of getting the drop. But in this case, I know it's going to be Kamari anyway, so I can just end the fight as quickly as possible.
I was just about to ask about that because I had brought that up as a question a couple of streams back. I was like, why don't I ever just finish it with Kamari?
Yep, it's because of the way the drops work. There are a set of certain drops are for the killer only, so you maximize the chance of getting a drop for Titus by letting Titus finish the fight.
Gnarly.
Okay, Blitzball. Blitzball time. I am nervous. I am scared. I warmed up today and Blitzball went fine, so I'm really hoping Blitzball goes fine right now. This is one of the major divergences in the run where if I lose Blitzball, I have to do a completely different route that is slower. So I do not want that to happen, so we're going to go ahead and hope that the goers are made goners and we can win the Blitzball game here. So I'm going to focus on that. I'm going to let my two fantastic commentators here talk about Blitzball until things are safe.
Take a stab at it?
2, 3, teach us how to blitz. I mean, I could talk a little bit on like at least like the first half for us here.
All right.
Blitzball itself is think of it almost like an underwater like soccer game and or rugby title. It's the way that it's playing it is it's a game all about stats that you're seeing up in the right corner. You'll see that there's a stat for like how far a character can pass the ball, how far or what's the success rate of like a character shooting the ball, or if they get tackled, if they can hold on to it and continue to dribble around the field. It's originally split into two separate matches, both consisting of a 5-minute timer. But because you're forced into a blitzball game for the sake of the story, This game is split into 3 separate sections, where the timer is going to go to 5 minutes. The second section is only going to be available for 3 minutes, and then the last section, you're finishing off that final 2 minutes.
I don't know what they're doing. In true GDQ fashion, I have never seen this before. This is. I don't like this either. They're just like, I mean, come on, Keepa. Come on, Keepa.
Keepa? Keepa? Oh my goodness.
All right.
My
Goers go first.
Right.
Unless I missed something in my defensive setup, which I mean I guess is possible, but that was quite the display of blitzball there. I am genuinely impressed with what the goers did there.
The goers are just playing great
Today, Baba. Yeah.
Yeah, so the overall thing here is we're just trying to see about passing the ball over to Titus as he's participating in the match. He's going to go ahead and gain experience points so that we can carry that over to the next half of the game. As he's gaining experience, he's actually getting the access to new abilities that you can use inside of Blitzball. For Titus, it's going to be an ability called Sphere Shot, which allows you to kind of roulette your wheel to your shooting score stat to try to increase that for a better chance at scoring a goal. Our target here is to just give Titus that experience by passing him the ball and then having him pass the ball out to someone else. And then we're going to have our focus to be scoring with Titus in the second part of this game. If we can do it, fantastic. If we can't, we do have another chance of scoring with Waka when we're in part 3 of the match. But we do lose out on Titus. So with the Luka Goers scoring a goal in the first portion here, we're going to need to try to see about really strategizing a way to get above that score. So that way we don't go into a tie, because that will lead us into overtime. And that's something that we want to try to avoid if possible. But still, can you explain a little bit more about Blitzball for us?
Yeah, so the reason why Blaze said at the beginning of the event here, there's 2 bigger route diversions it's about to happen, is either you win or you don't. But when you win, you do get a strength sphere bonus, which will give you +4 strength, which is important for both Titus and Yuna in the later half of the run. If you lose Blitzball, you have a bunch of extra steps to do, which when you're tracking RNG is not very consistent or conducive for time, energy. Overall, you're losing multiple minutes under your PB. And if you were running any percent, I think the cutscene following post Blitzball is also a bit longer. So once you kind of hit the upper echelons in the speedrunning category, you just automatically reset Blitzball like anytime you lose. However, we're going with Marathon. We prepare for the worst. We prepare for a Blitzball loss strategy, which is something we discussed before the run, how much effort you're going to want to do. Even more so, worst case scenario, what Blaze is going to try to avoid is going to overtime. Unfortunately, this is one of those scripted story fights, or if you will, or at the end of any tournaments, if you were doing this as like the mini game on the side. This mini game does need a winner, and it is overtime rules or sudden death rules, where next person's score automatically ends the mini game. So we're trying to avoid the overtime, but what Blaze is going to try to do is he's going to sneak in here, and about 15 seconds is going to start moving closer to Titus. Is going to pass the ball over. Hopefully we can spear shot over Bulgarda or their goalie, which is name I cannot remember. And then
Adi.
Adi.
And
then
that was bad.
That was bad.
That was very bad.
You can try it.
Well, okay.
Wow,
All
okay.
right, let's go.
Come on, team.
All right, everyone. Cross your
When you
hands,
get the ball,
cross your fingers, cross
you
your
gotta
arms,
score.
cross your legs.
Cross your
Oh my
paws.
god. I
Gasu
read
means-
Gasu is Jesus. We're having a day. I also like whenever you have stayed still on the field,
Let's
just watching the
go.
radar where everyone is just swimming in circles. I have been losing it. I've had to mute my mic. Oh,
Yeah,
no.
unfortunately, the clock stops whenever somebody gets confronted. So the best way is actually to stall to get through Blitzball quickly.
No, it makes sense.
I am going for the win here because I am not I'm a Blitzball purist. I play to win. Now that does have limitations, so we'll see what happens here in the second half. But I do have the setup to hopefully go for the win here. So
I say Letty Ball really does help.
yeah, winning the Blitz off, like, cannot be overemphasized how important that is, and it is complete RNG. So
Yeah.
all right, so I'm gonna basically do what I did with Titus with Waka here in just a moment.
Yeah, let's go find it.
I drew some aggro. That's okay. Abus can't hurt me. But if Waka can also score, then I will be good. But I'm probably gonna have to deal with Abus a little more here. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's okay. As long as Balgurda stays away. That was the thing that happened on that first one, which was very scary and weird. That it was,
But we lucked out, and that's all that matters.
Blitzball in marathons and showcases, like, this is the stuff that just happens. I don't know what else to say. I've never had a normal Blitzball game in a showcase run ever. So
I think
there
the
you go.
biggest challenge of Blitzball is there's the hidden mechanic where any number effectively can be better or worse by 50% than what is presented at any given moment.
Yep.
So you're playing a minigame within a minigame and hoping for the best, and the Luca goers are already just set to just kick your butt throughout this minigame.
Yeah.
Which is also why Grab can get the ball on blitz off and shoot a goal from mid-court for the
He
memes.
shoots.
Okay, we got the lead. Let's
Good
go.
job.
Let's go.
Come on, team. Come on, Oryx. Okay. Well, you know, I was worried a little bit for the purposes of the showcase that Blitzball was going to be really boring. This is the most exciting game of Blitzball I've played in years.
Yeah.
I think everybody wants it.
I'm not even playing.
Oh my gosh.
I'm just stressed
y'all
out.
paid for the whole seat and you only needed the edge, so there you go. All right, we got the win. And now I can, like, exhale a little bit, so... Because, yeah, losing Blitzball is not fun. When you're doing competitive speedruns of this game and you lose Blitzball, you reset, so... yeah, you know, unsurprisingly, most speedrunners do not have as much practice with Blitzball loss, so...
Yeah.
Oh, we did it!
I think Panda and I
We're
were
going to
joking.
call them the comeback kids for the rest of the run, so...
And Panda and I were joking. Like, you don't even have like a run going until you get through Blitzball.
It's true,
Oh, I've
yeah.
had so many instances where I was like, wow, this is going really good, and then I get to Blitzball and it just
Yeah, never
shatters.
say that.
Yeah. Or the
Like,
game's
Panda,
being really
you're
nice
2
to me, and
minutes
I'm like,
ahead.
yeah, the game's being really nice to me, and I'm like, what are the Luker goers gonna do to me? What are they planning?
Yeah. The sentient Luca goers.
Yeah.
We as 9 runners often talk about how Square Enix lives in your microphone. So you have to say positive things about the game,
Oh.
but not about the run.
Oh, don't worry, I'm always asking Square Enix then to give me Kingdom Hearts news any moment now, any day.
Crumbs.
My link missing.
All right. Overkills here, by the way. We haven't talked about overkills at all. Maybe this is a good time to talk about overkills while I'm just cleaning up the fish tank here.
Still, you got it. Because I just think it happens.
But yeah, so the threshold for what becomes an overkill sometimes, to me, is a bit of a meme. Because sometimes crits get it, sometimes crits don't. Sometimes you can cheer, or you get like the lightning steel or the lightning ball. You're doing well over the minimum amount of damage to get what I would deem to be an overkill, and it doesn't happen. But the ultimate perk of why we like overkills in this format is because with small enemies you get double EXP and you get double drops, and with bosses I believe it's time and a half EXP and double drops.
Yep.
So when we're trying to count things like strength spheres, speed spheres, this is an encounter that only gives you 17 strength spheres, but Blaze got actually so many overkills in that encounter that He actually got 22, and over the course of the run, I believe we need 8 additional strength and 22 speed.
That sounds
could be-
right. Yeah.
It sounds right. I could be wrong though, so don't
Yeah.
quote me on that. So encounters like that, we want to use it to our full advantage. Fortunately enough, so that's your best chance to get strength spheres. Killica Woods, we didn't get really much of a chance to talk about. They give us some of the most speed spheres over the course of the run, which is why we don't flee from every encounter possible. So we try to farm in when we can, because worst comes to worst. Once we see Rin for the second time in the airship later in the game, we got to buy speed distillers. It's always awkward to throw those at the Pavel guards before you defeat them, and we try to avoid that.
Yeah. I just want to make a quick note to production as well. So after this fight will be when we wanted to take our first break. So I'll let you know when you can stop the timer, but it'll be after this fight.
Oh, cool.
I had completely forgot we were doing that.
I
good.
spaced.
Flying by.
Yeah. I spaced that out too. I did see a comment from user OGZ's bad. Blitzball game when Square? Man, I wish. I'm hoping for Blitzball in some fashion in Final Fantasy 14. Maybe one
Done
day.
Madden Blitzball 2025.
I would take crumbs
All right,
again.
so we can
crumbs.
pause it now.
All right. Right as we pause that timer, we're going to get up and take ourselves a quick stretch break. But also, if you are curious what's coming up on Hotfix, you can check out this week's schedule and explore our full season lineup at gdq.gg/hotfix. And thank you so much for everyone supporting GDQ Hotfix with your subs, Prime Gaming subs, gift subs, and bits. Your contributions do help keep our shows running. So if you're enjoying the stream, consider subscribing for exclusive emotes, ad-free viewing, and access to chat during our replays. And you can also always support the stream by sharing the Games on Quick channel with your friends. And we'll be right back after this short break, so stick around, and we're going to be right back into Final Fantasy X after this. All right, folks, welcome back to episode 46 of Passion Project, the best place on Twitch to show the world what you love most in speedrunning and gaming. I'm joined by Blaze here as we're blazing through Final Fantasy X HD Remaster with its cutscene remover mod, which is the best way to remove 5.5 to 6 hours of cutscenes from your run and make it 3.5 hours so we can run it on Hotfix. All right, I won't take up any more of your time. Go ahead and take it away right from where we let go. Or let off.
Yep.
Left
Yep.
off. Words.
Yeah, let's
Sorry.
just oh no, you're good, Amber. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you there. But yeah, no, I'm ready to just Titus has just been standing here for the last few minutes, like he's ready to get back into it. So let's just go ahead and get back into it. I'll count us back in. So 3, 2, 1, go. And I'm gonna run up here. There's a couple chests, and then we are gonna get on out of town. So
Yeah, I'll just miss the silliest game of Blitzball.
oh my god. One thing I forgot to mention about that, because normally what happens when you're doing that Blitzball game, and that was by far just the wildest game of Blitzball that I have played, like I said, in a very long time. You usually win 1-0 or you just don't win. So to win 2-1 on the Hotfix was I will cherish that memory for a very long time. So but yeah, no, normally what happens is you just go behind the net right away and just bleed the clock for the entire first half, and a GDQ spin would have been an amazing emote to be using during that if I had mentioned it. But yeah, I always encourage chat to use their spin emotes while because as you pointed out, Amber, on the radar, like all of the other characters are just spinning around in a circle, so it's perfect. So
I do have to give some love to Panda's Blitzball emote he dropped in there as well.
It's awesome.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
One other comment, I wasn't able to watch chat very much, but a lot of people ask why we don't get the Jek shot for Blitzball. And the answer is very simple, and it goes back to something I kind of said earlier on, which is this cutscene remover is made for speedrunning, so it does not necessarily handle the casual game particularly well. And case in point, if you get the Jek shot while you're playing CSR, the game will crash. So because we don't get it in the speedrun. You are not supposed to get it in the speedrun because you don't need it, and it is slower. So there you go.
Live and let live.
Which is a shame, because I feel like it would make Blitzball way more consistent.
The Jek shot's fine unless you get really, really unlucky. So But yeah,
Oh,
we're just kind of running through these next couple screens now. We're going to be fleeing from all encounters. We're getting ready for the big major skip in the run, which is coming up in probably about 10 minutes or so. Very excited to talk about that and hopefully get it cleanly for y'all and not botch it, because you can do that, and it's very sad when that happens. So I will do my best. I thought about it.
Hey, I'm a guardian now, so watch out.
Chat's asking,
All right,
have
there's a
we... Oh,
I got to
Have we
track
talked
that.
about
That's the
the
only reason I
RNG?
said it, so yeah.
yeah. Have we talked about the RNG of Titus's random snippy remarks in battle where you lose time because Titus feels talkative?
That is RNG in the speedrun for sure. You don't want them giving their little quips before battle, especially the ones that are like 2 parts. So, all right. So
Especially
deaths are something I
late
have
game.
to keep track of. So I have to go to my RNG tracker here and just mark down that somebody died. That's it. That's all you have to do.
Since it was brought up, though,
I'll be right back.
so on the leaderboard on speedrun.com for Final Fantasy X, you'll notice in the top 10 of this category, there is probably about 4 different languages that appear in it. And it's actually because there is some noticeable differences between the languages of how the characters
I won't
speak.
go so easy on you next
And
time.
especially in the any percent category, you can't skip a lot of dialogue until all the dialogue has produced itself on screen. So dialogue from other countries will produce a lot faster on screen, so you can toggle a bit faster. In cutscene scene remover, obviously, there's a lot less cutscenes, but that is still viable. And as a result, even a lot of the characters in like combat and stuff like that will speak a lot faster. And I've always tried to test. I'll admit, though, I always try to test it myself to see how much the differences are going to be. But I always end up making a mistake because I lose track of where stuff is. But for another runner, a lot of stuff does always land in very similar areas, so then it shouldn't be too much of an issue if you know what you're looking for.
One other thing I'll just quickly mention, because it's not immediately obvious if you're not super familiar with this game. As long as at least one of your party members
won't go so
escapes, you
easy
do
on you
not
next
game
time.
over. So if I had 2 characters die and 1 get away, I'm fine.
I appreciate
Wonderful
that the game is like,
Shalinda.
1 is good enough.
Live and let live.
Also, if you defeat any enemies in battle, you will get their rewards, and then you can just run away from the rest, which is something that we will take advantage of later on in the run. Nice, I got off that screen with -1 encounter relative to what the game expected me to get, so that's good. All right, so we got a boss fight coming up, and this is a little bit of a weird one. So, King or Syl, one of you want to talk about the Chocobo Eater fight?
Ooh, I got this one.
Go, King, go.
Of course. We need to lose this. No, I wasn't wrong. No, we do lose this. This is another one of those like gimmick fights where the idea here is you're wanting to push the Chocobo Eater off the cliff or destroy him. Or if you waste enough time, he'll push you off this cliff. But don't worry, it's not a game over. You do just lose access to gaining a free Chocobo ride, which, while sad, wow, that was fast. The idea over there is just to haste him so that way you can try to force him to push you off.
Titus
And then
has
do a little sidestep.
taken a lot of big blows so far in this section.
But the chocobos.
So I have 2 ambushes coming up on this screen, and I'm a little nervous about one of them. So
How much further do we have to go?
here's hoping nothing bad happens.
Is dodging 100 lightning strikes part of the run?
No, if it was, I would not do this run.
I would not either.
Ooh!
Oh,
Let's
block
ambush
is turn
one.
2. Oh, Oh,
Ooh.
where we will. Okay. When you get down to one character and they have to run away, that is when things get scary. So
when everyone does that slow turn towards your last
Oh.
character, and they stumble out of an escape, failing it. It's
All right, that was the first one. This is actually the one I was worried about. So we'll see. Keep those fingies crossed, everyone.
Ooh.
We need everybody to attack
Titus.
Orin more. That's part of why this is getting a little scary.
It's okay.
What do you guys say?
Don't worry. No, don't worry about it. No, it's good.
Again, I
Orin
just need
does-
one character to escape. So if we have 2 characters, I like my odds normally. All right, much better. All right.
I do like Orin's flea animation because he does run off screen like his pants is on fire.
Yep.
Moves with some urgency.
Enough. Shalinda.
Shalinda. All right. I have 2 more ambushes on the other screen that's coming up, and I will also be trying to get the skip while I'm on that screen. So that'll be fun. But I'm going to be mainly focused on the skip. So I'm going to let y'all talk about what's going on. One thing that is a little bit weird about this skip, it has a visual cue, which I'm sure King and Sil will talk about. For me personally, it involves getting very, very close to my monitor, so I am going to actually be moving my mic out of the way and probably getting a little bit uncomfortably close to my camera for everybody, so I apologize in advance, but it is for the good of the run, so I'm going to go focus on that, and I will catch you on the flip side after we do this major, major skip here.
Good luck.
Yeah, best of luck to you. The skip that we're referring to here is MRR skip. There's in the story of the game, you are on your way towards the next temple to go ahead and get a new monster, but you're a bit diverted. You're actually walking into a military operation that's happening to try to take out the big bad of the game. So they tell you to take this back road, which will lead you to these large, numerous cutscenes, and then you have to do like a 2-phase boss fight, and you have to go through some really good story. But because we're doing cutscene remover and we're trying to get this game done fast, whatever with the story. What we're going to do here is we're actually going to try to go through the center of this walkway. Normally, you're not allowed to go through because there's an invisible barrier that's present. But as you see on the screen, that doesn't look like that's there anymore. Well, it is, don't worry. But what we're doing is we're actually utilizing this NPC character, Soldier, that's running back and forth up and down this road to try to force him to nudge us ever so little along the way, past the barrier of the invisible wall, to try to get us to the other side where we're not supposed to go. And the way that we actually get him to nudge us over there is when he's at a specific distance from us, you can start to communicate with him and he'll have a little dialogue. But if you rapidly talk to him, he will nudge you past that barrier. Way that we can kind of set ourselves up to have this push be successful is there are some visual indicators that different runners use, whether it be like a specific pixel on the map, or there's a texture on that rock over there, or there's a piece of grass that's on the ground that right next to Titus's boots that you use to go ahead and set yourselves up, because there is actually a chance of failure for this push where you can get soft lock and you will have to try to redo this again. All
right.
You're not out of the woods yet, though.
That was right into an ambush, but that was technically first try. So, because there is a very, very random and rare chance. I don't think anybody has a consistent setup for it that I'm aware of, where you can get pushed through in one instance. I've gotten it randomly before, but normally you do what just happened, which is the first push kind of gets you through the first barrier because there are 2 of them. You kind of want to get pushed to the right. And then you line up again for the second push, which is a lot less finicky than the first one. And then he'll finish pushing you through. So, all right. So if I can just get off this screen without getting killed, I will be a very happy camper. So.
Oh, man. Oh,
yeah. For me, the most scary part is everything that happens after the skip. You can get gamed over right now and get sent back before the skip and have to do the skip again, especially in the marathon settings. So all you do is you cross everything you have. Yeah. And actually,
that was the last
80%,
ambush, so.
So with the cutscenes, there's a pre-skip you have to do too in order to set up the skip itself. And I didn't know that for the first 3 times I got up there. And I'm like, what am I doing wrong? But yeah, that soldier that runs back and forth.
I didn't spawn like I did in a practice run the other day, buried up to my waist, because that's just something random that can happen while you play this game sometimes. All right, oof, big sigh of relief. The blitzball and that are like the 2 major like difficulty things that you have to overcome when doing a run of this game. So now everything's pretty much just scripted, and I just need to follow the script. So, woo. I'm a very happy behemoth right now. Yes.
Good job.
Yes, thank you.
All the head pats.
Yeah, it was that level skip is what got me to finally look at the game and be like, oh, I want to try that. And then that became a rabbit hole of, oh, the speedrunning is there too. So let me test that out. And it just went all from there. And even to this day, I fail at that skip. It can be really tough to learn. But oh man, when you get it, it's so cool.
I've been stressing about it so much because it is fairly inconsistent. So that was very clean, and I'm super happy with that. Also, I did see someone in chat, I think it was Richard, asking about, was this the one that Tara found? And yes, the runner who found this skip is named Tara, and for a while it was called Tara Skip. For ease of communication, I do try to call it MRR Skip just because, okay, I'll get it on the way out. I need the next encounter there because it's got a basilisk, and I need to learn Stone Breath, but we'll do that after the temple, so don't let me forget you two. I would appreciate that. Thank you.
I'll try.
Yeah. So yay, it's time for more Puzzle Church. This is usually where I kind of decompress a little bit, so
you can breathe.
Yeah, because if I have a live run, I'm happy at this point because I've finished Blitzball and I got through MRR Skip cleanly, like I did. Well, I don't want to say that was clean Blitzball. I do not want to give anybody that impression that was watching that Blitzball game. But for
it was entertaining. Blitzball.
For Terra MRR Skip, that was about as good as it gets, unless you get extremely lucky. The other thing that can happen that I think King mentioned is if you get, especially on that first push, if you get pushed to the left, you actually get soft locked. One thing in particular that is noteworthy for how that interacts with the RNG tracking is if I was just to close my game and reopen it because I was soft locked, I would lose all my RNG tracking because the game would load me back in on a different seed. If I want to keep my RNG tracking, I would actually have to force an encounter, wipe, and then push that a little too far, I think. I would have to force an encounter, wipe, log it, and then I would still be on the same seed when I loaded my autosave. But that actually takes more time, so you kind of have to decide if it's worth keeping the RNG tracking or not. So thankfully, I did not have to make that decision tonight.
Someone in chat is asking, Stone Breath is for the Seymour fight, right? And one other use?
It is used in the Seymour fight, and then it is used again in the fights in Home later on.
Okay, so it is used twice, yeah.
Yeah, yep. One of the things I do love about this game, from a speedrun perspective and kind of like an integrity perspective, I don't know if maybe that's the best word to use, but every character in this game has a use at some point during the speedrun. I think the one character that probably gets the shortest workload or the least workload is Lulu. And even Lulu, because of where she is positioned on the sphere grid, becomes very important later on for enabling Yuna to kind of go ham. So everybody gets a use. It's wonderful. I love that about this game.
Well, Lulu got to teach us about magic.
Oh yeah,
At the very
that's
beginning.
true.
So we'll give her the credit for that at least. Magic, elements.
I'd still be
Cool.
back there whacking that water flan with my sword if Lulu hadn't intervened.
Yeah. Clueless, aren't you? Good thing I'm here.
Yeah.
Been to Calm Lands a couple times. Still only has the basic spells though.
Mhm. I think this was the first puzzle church that really threw me when I was playing the game casually because, and this is something I noticed and appreciated more when I started speedrunning the game, but there are kind of like hidden mechanics to the temples that the game doesn't explicitly tell you about, but it does kind of layer them on, and the mechanic for this one is you actually have to use that reset panel strategically, otherwise you can't complete the puzzle. So it's more than just a reset tile, which I thought was cool.
What, a Final Fantasy game without a hidden mechanic? That'll never happen.
Right. But I think it's the only time that it's required. I think it's the only temple that it's required in.
It is. I think there are some throughout the game where you have to use them to do the destruction spheres, but
Yeah.
yeah, this one is actually required to solve the main puzzle, which when I was a kid playing this game for the first time, I could not wrap my mind around that because I just thought I only touch this if I screw up, you know?
Tita Veritas talks about how the combat tutorial in this game got its own Magic the Gather card complete with the Lulu quote. I think the
I
only
was so
thing
happy for that. I was so excited to see that.
I think the only thing I was left unsatisfied that was Titus' sword is still stuck in it.
That is
I'm like,
good.
wait a minute.
Yeah, I know, Sil, you've been playing the Magic the Gathering set somewhat. I have not. I burned out on Magic like a long time ago, so I'm going to leave that to the kids to play some Final Fantasy Magic the Gathering, but I hope everybody's enjoying it so far. I appreciate that they seem to have captured a lot of the really special moments from the series and characters in the cards, and I hope that people are enjoying that and using it as a way to maybe reconnect with games like this that they played as a kid and you know, maybe want to get back to now. They're still very good games, and you can get all of them on like Steam, for example. So, all right, I need to get this encounter for the basilisk, and then we can move on.
Yeah, I was super excited to see the collaboration occur. And then you do get, as a big Final Fantasy X fan, it was awesome to see what cards ended up getting produced. And to my surprise, a lot of them were like, oh, interesting, we have a Shalinda card. That's cool. But we also, I can be happy and smile knowing that we do have a Rise Shupuff card also.
I just wish
Shout
there
out
was.
to my
I don't.
Chocobo decks.
They didn't make a card. I don't think they made this card. If they did, someone can correct me.
That will go
But
so easy
I wish
on you
they
next
made a
time.
card that was an instant for like with Waka on it that just said, "But the teachings."
I didn't recognize that card, but missed opportunities.
I know.
That won't go so easy on you next time.
No, it's a great set, and shout out to Yuta right now, who's carrying me in ladder.
A friend of mine joined a Discord call earlier today, and she had Magic the Gathering Arena open, and she was like, "Don't mind me, I'm just playing Arena because there's a Discord quest for some drops."
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Shit, 'cause I did play so much Magic today. No, I like some pack openings once in a while. That's probably my one rabbit hole of brain rot that I really enjoy. So to see people like Panda, who's never really played Magic, find the time to make a stream out of it, I'm like, this is really great.
Yeah, doing a card stream opening was neat. I was like, I've never opened cards before. And then it was like 5 hours later and I was still opening packs. I was like, whoa, this is cool. But I don't know how to play, so I have to learn still.
It's a fun game. I don't really play Magic too much. I came from a background of mostly Yu-Gi-Oh, but I quit Yu-Gi-Oh back in like 2011? No, 2010 or something, and then like I'm a TCG Pokemon TCG player now, for the most part. But I love me a good TCG. You find like I'm with Magic. I'm one of those people where it's like, you know, hand me a deck and I'll play it because I know how to play it. But I'm thrilled that like I know that some of the collaboration sets have been like divisive for some folks, but like it gets a lot of people into either collecting or playing or both that wouldn't have gotten into it otherwise. And you know, you're worth the time it takes to pick up a new hobby that makes you happy.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Just to briefly talk about my background, because I alluded to it, I actually played on the Magic the Gathering Pro Tour back in the 2010s.
Oh wow!
So that was very much a college hobby for me, and yeah, I kind of reached the pinnacle for me personally, and decided I was good, and yeah, that was it for me. So
yeah,
I need to make sure I equip Waka with that, and now I'm good.
Oh, my college dad said from textbooks and Magic packs. Anyways, shall I talk a little bit about Extractor here?
Yeah, can we talk about why the music is broken in this fight? Oh wait, it just is.
Yeah, can we talk about why Yuna is a traitor and fighting us right now?
Got captured again. Stop getting kidnapped already.
She's piloting it.
But yeah, CSRs and audio glitches definitely go hand in hand. No matter what category, what game you're running, they're far and few frequent.
Yeah.
But this is, for some reason, my least favorite RNG encounter that you can do in the for a boss, because there's nothing you can do that makes the RNG more consistent. But ultimately, what Blaze is trying to do right now is Titus has got the weapon called the Stunning Steel, which he bought back in Luca. So it has the slow touch. And whether or not slow gets applied early and effectively is completely decisive on whether or not you're going to have a good fight or a bad fight. Because as the Extractor goes up, he has in his skill to drop barrels on our party here, which will infect him with blind, and he will not come back down unless you do enough damage. So what Blaze will do here is he's going to use slots to do enough immediate damage to bring him back down, and then we're going to keep trying to swing with Titus as much as we can. But if you get a real late slow, like all that hard work you put in the Blitzball, Clasko skip can become moot real fast. Because
death charges can be pretty rough with the status effects that it does apply onto you.
It's awful.
Yeah, it'll give you darkness,
is very
which
unlucky,
is awful.
and we kind of just have to deal with it now, unfortunately. So,
but we'll make a comeback. It's okay.
We'll be okay.
You can easily save a minute on Blitzball, get first try Mushroom Rock Road Skip, and then Extractor's just like, that's right, I'm coming to bully. I hope you're ready.
Yep. So Titus is in the danger zone now, so I actually have to stop for a second and heal with Waka.
Danger zone.
This is 3 cheers. 3 cheers for everybody. I need to do 1 more cheer, and then I should have... Cheer basically gives you a little bit of a speed and attack boost, by the way. So we're kind of boosting ourselves a little bit. But the fight is really dragging out at this point just because the Extractor is getting all of these turns that if the slow had gotten applied, he would not be getting, so...
Okay, immediate slow. He gets more, like 1 attack, and then he goes up, and then he goes down, and the fight's over.
Yep.
Like the other two move so fast and so consistently that we free Yuna in no time flat.
Yep. But I've been able to manage the fight well enough here that it's fine. I just have to make sure that I don't expose myself to, like, here I have to... I'm going to stop and heal Waka again just because I don't want anybody to take a dirt nap, so... But yeah, it's just kind of grinding it out at this point.
And do you mind if I, while we're grinding it out, step in to remind folks that the Black in a Flash community, like, talk about them, shout them out. They are a community that just had their event last weekend, Juneteenth, their Juneteenth event. They're a community that uplifts and connects Black speedrunners of all levels, hosting special events throughout the year to raise money for charity and celebrate Black voices in the speedrunning scene. You can learn more or apply to get involved at gdq.gg/BAF and follow at blackinaflash.bsky.social on Blue Sky for the latest updates. Back to you.
Yeah, great. That was perfect because yeah, that fight was getting annoying anyway, and thankfully I got a couple crits in there, so it didn't take as long as it could have. But anyway, now we got Riku and
the gang's
Riku.
all here.
We love Riku. Yeah, this is completing my party, and Riku's got a really powerful ability called Mix that we're gonna get a tutorial for here. So
You should know. I'm gonna use that item.
no, we're not, because I actually need that for a boss fight later on. But we'll do something different. How about that?
It was wild that Square Enix gives you like a really great subset of items that you'll never really find anywhere else, and encourages you to use them for her ultimate on an enemy that is so small.
Mix used to be a really important mechanic to the speedrun before. This was way back, like the first iterations of the speedrun. And there's other categories like No Sphere Grid that still use Riku's Mix a lot. But now for the main any percent run, we kind of just buff Yuna up and let Yuna go ham. So. There we go. But we will still use Riku's Mix quite a bit throughout the run because it's an extremely, extremely powerful mechanic. So.
Live and let live.
All right, but we're coming up on Guado Salam here. Guado Salam is a really important story area to the game. It is the home of the Guado, including Seymour, who we haven't seen yet because of cutscenes, but we will catch up with Seymour pretty quickly here, and Seymour is not a good person.
At least we get to go say hi to people in the far plane. Kind of works out.
Yep. And then it's off to the Thunder Plains, where I'm going to horribly embarrass myself. I'm almost assuredly and get struck by lightning at least once, so everybody has that to look forward to. I am very bad at dodging the lightning strikes, so.
I get the feeling
How many ambushes in the ambush planes are we looking forward to?
0, thankfully. That is one of the seed's most redeeming qualities, is it has a very good first half of the Thunder Plains, so.
The only half that matters.
Yeah, because then in the second half, Titus has a Thunder Shield that blocks all of the lightning spells, so. But the first half, you can get ambushed, and there's a fairly decent chance that you will wipe if that happens. So I'm very grateful that the seed has a safe Thunder Plains. So yeah, we're gonna head on up to the far plane. We're gonna talk to our relatives, I guess. Although Riku has a scientific explanation for what's going on up here, but you know. Let the Yevonites believe what they want to believe. It's fine. They're not hurting anybody. They kind of are, but that's okay.
Everyone's teasing Seymour in chat. With Animom.
Yeah, it's that is a thing that happens in this game. That is for sure. So. All right, so here we go out on the Thunder Plains. I'm looking ahead to the second half. There's an encounter that I would actually really like to get, so that I would have the opportunity to get some more speed spheres, because I can already tell I'm a little short. I am not getting that encounter, which isn't the end of the world, but I'm kind of mentally calculating for the rest of the run, like where I'm at in terms of spheres. Good news is for power spheres, I am already set. I have enough power spheres to finish the run. But I'm gonna have to figure out where to get some more speed spheres. So I'll be looking for some opportunities to do that as the run plays out the rest of the way. So.
I'll be right back.
But for now, I'm just running up on the Thunder Plains. We're running away from a lot of these encounters. Oh, and I'm getting struck by lightning because, like I said, I'm looking at every but my screen. You know. But yeah, there's a couple enemies that can give me fits here, but as long as you don't get ambushed here, it's pretty safe. You have enough hit points to be safe through most of the normal encounters as long as they're not ambushes. So. We will have a shop coming up here when I get to the halfway point, where I'll be stocking up on Phoenix Downs and grenades for the rest of the run. So
real quick, it is worth noting those because we were talking about CSR and scheduled CSR breaks. If when you load into the CSR mod, it asks you, would you like to take the break? And you were to say yes, it would have been after Guadalsalam and before the Thunder Plains. They actually outdid themselves on this one. They take you back to the Luca Theater where you can play like a cuts. No, I don't think they loaded all the cutscenes, but you can play any of the audio tracks that you want, and then you can walk away. But if you let that timer hit 0, it drops you back into Thunder Plains, and your run continues. So your RTA or your real-time attack would continue to go. So no splicing accusations. But your main time would be the one that freezes, which is nice. It's reassuring.
yeah, that's something else that we didn't talk about for the leaderboards for this game, for the PC version anyway. Because all PCs are different and this game runs very differently on different computers, I can attest to that as someone who has run it on a variety of different computers over the years. There is a load remover that gets used to sort of equalize the leaderboard times, which is great. So. All right, so 2 encounters from now, I'm gonna get an Iron Giant, and I want to steal a light curtain from the Iron Giant. That'll be useful for a boss fight later on. So we're actually gonna go ahead and bring Riku in after this fight, so that she can do that steal. The Iron Giants also have an interesting mechanic for how they attack that we're also going to take advantage of because I need to build Riku's Overdrive. And the best way to build Overdrive is to have characters take damage. So, oh, that's weird. It attacked Riku. Why did it attack Riku, you two?
So Iron Giant, much like a few other enemies too, they are designed to attack the lowest HP person. So we take advantage of that in 2 ways here. One, to get the light curtain, as Blaze mentioned. Also, the next boss fight coming up, oh, dude.
Look, don't say a word. I was almost to the zone line too. That was just insult upon injury.
The game was just like, hold up, wait a minute.
Hold up, let me zap you real quick.
Yeah.
Looking way too comfy here.
The next boss Blaze is going to come up against, we are going to start immediately taking advantage of Riku's mix ability. But Iron Giant, to me, is probably one of the most consistent ways to build the overdrive gauge without losing more party members along the way.
Yep. And it is 100% predictable behavior that he will attack the character with the least amount of HP, which is Riku, so yay. All right, now I have more steals to do, and I also need to finish building Riku's Overdrive. So I'm just gonna go ahead and bring Riku in right away. I need to do 2 steals here before the next boss fight, if possible. They're not hard required, but you can get into a bit of trouble if you don't get them. So I'm gonna make sure I do. That was one of them. We basically need to steal 1 item from each of the elemental types because the boss coming up has a mechanic where they are going to take on 1 element and you have to use the other one. So if Riku has all of the elements, then you're fine. If she is missing one, then you have to hope that the boss doesn't use the one that you don't have, which is obviously not guaranteed. So.
Ray Gamba.
If you're going for Gamba. PB, you do it anyway, but you hope you don't have to. So
yeah. let's say, I think in my 100 runs, I haven't been punished yet, knocks on wood.
Yeah, actually, there, Riku has her overdrive now, so I actually attacked there because I didn't want Riku to come up short on getting damaged, because that would have been, you know, I want her damage so that I have the overdrive built up. So we're good now. I just have to get that other steal, and I'll have 2 chances at it on the next 2 encounters after this one, so...
Ray says for the best Midwesterner voice. Oh, let me get you one more strike real quick.
Oh, let me get you with one more strike real quick.
Shout out to the Midwest.
All right, that is the other item I needed, so I'm good. The other nice thing I can do now is I can take Riku out of the party because I've got the steals I need, and I have Riku's overdrive, and Riku is fragile and also goes faster than Titus, both of which are not really ideal if I can avoid it, so...
Live and let live.
Also, if you do have to defend with her in crit and animation, it's not very long in the grand scheme of things, but man,
also
it feels like an eternity.
Yeah, if she's in critical status, she like stumbles around. it's really obnoxious when you don't want her doing it.
Moving around with 2 left feet.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I've been sitting here trying to place Titus's voice for a while, so I finally looked it up. Oh, no wonder I recognize him. He's voiced by James Arnold Taylor, who voices Ratchet in the Ratchet and Clank series. It was bothering me why I was recognizing the voice.
Yep. Yeah, a lot of the voice acting in this game does occasionally get a bit of a knock, which I understand, although in the grand scheme of things, this was a relatively early adopter of voice acting, but it does have a pretty incredible voice cast.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Javin and El Numara bring up a really good point about the butterflies. Blaze just showed off there. So in that last screen, we actually take advantage of the butterflies very well. So the encounter is actually not on, only if you were to bump into a red butterfly, which is what Blaze avoided by going the opposite direction of all the butterflies. So you can actually save several seconds of time if you got all your steals already done.
All right, and now we're getting the best weapon in the game, which is the Sonic Steel, but only after we tell Awaka he needs to stop price gouging everybody. Get out of here, you filthy capitalist.
This economy?
Yeah, who can afford these prices in this economy, exactly? All right, so now we've got the Spheromorph fight. I'm going to focus on this and let my commentators talk about what is going on here.
So Spearmorph is... So this is where we're starting to prep everyone's spear grids for jumping around and min-maxing our stats. So we defend with Titus, Yuna, Kamari, or all the C, or make sure to get just a splash of EXP. And then we have Riku jump in, throw a grenade, check what element we're going to use, mix the opposite element in to just essentially one-shot the boss. So because of the overkill now, we're going to get the time and a half EXP. So right away after this, Blaze is going to grab Kamari's Sphere Grid and he's going to jump into Riku, which pays off in 2 different ways because he'll get to be able to steal and use, which will help us in other facets, making sure we're getting, various grenades we need to throw. Kamari will begin to move faster. Also gets him to position to where he'll have attributes learned that Yuna will need to learn from him later in the game as well. So it's one of the first appearances where we really cheat the Sphere Grid mechanics in a smart and beneficial way. But it's also where the margin of error for your run can really kind of start to open back up again, because if you forget one speed stat, so like here infamously, if you did not pick up the speed stat that Blaze did on Riku, Riku actually does not move fast enough for her to get all of her turns in anymore through the next or the crawler fight. So it's just now we're just kind of honing in on the tiny differences, so we're not learning every possible stat along the way.
Yep. All right, yeah, that went smoothly. Probably should also talk about that weapon I mentioned if you didn't do so, which is the Sonic Steel and what that does for me now. Because I don't have to worry about ambushes anymore for the entire rest of the run, which is, I love that for me, so.
Yeah, so the Sonic Steel gets us the preempt, or the first strike technically. So no matter what, Titus is going first. Eventually, the main party that we're going to use for the course of the run will learn that. So that's how we take advantage of this scenario here. Since Titus goes first, we can bring Rico out right away, throw the lightning marble on the...
Yuna!
She did exactsies, sorry, that was why I made a little...
Yeah.
I made a sound of approval. It has exactly 1,000 hit points.
I'd say that's rule 50-50, you're going to get that too.
Yep.
But because it goes down there, it's ATB, it starts over. Riku gets to go it again, and it's... So now we're working on, like, hairline margins.
Yeah. Although it should be said, this fight is completely 100% scripted as long as you do it right, so there is no chance for any kind of variation. It's part of why we use Lulu in this fight as well, because it's a great opportunity for her to get AP, and she is naturally just like the slowest character in your party at all times, so...
Right. The AP itself is always going to be provided to characters that are participating in the fight, whether it's attacking, defending, switching equipment. As long as they remain alive at the end of the fight, that AP gain is going to go ahead and be provided to them. We're also going to be focusing on doing a lot of party swap here during the fight. This is to also try to preemptively set ourselves up for success with the upcoming boss fights that are going to be arriving really soon too. And with the counterattack that this machine did, it unknowingly had given back Riku's overdrive again, which allows us to completely wipe it out with that mix use.
Annoying for the crawler.
Annoying for the crawler.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Maybe you shouldn't have done that.
But yeah, for everyone that's important for the course of the run, they now have 20 secure levels that are readily available. Some might not use them until another hour down the way. But it looks like a fight that goes really wrong, and it's very chaotic. But, you know, we keep saying it, but this run is scripted from start to finish. There's very little times where different people might wind up down than in other situations, but those might be people that weren't designed to be standing at the end of the fight to begin with. So we don't worry about those smaller metrics.
Right. And it really does come down to, you know, with the guide being set to, if you follow it, you know, word for word, you're going to get a completion, which is great. But this does mean everything that you do matters. Just like down to that agility sphere that Sil was mentioning. If you miss one thing, you can't be like me when I was starting to learn this and be like, oh, that's fine. It's like 2 agility. That's not gonna do anything to me. And it did everything to me.
Yeah.
It does everything to you because the way that this is designed is just to get you just over where you need. No more, no less. And it's gnarly to see that there was so much time and effort dedicated to crafting that guide to be able to allow us to do this.
Yep.
Shout out
That's
note
true.
writers.
Every time when I was learning this run and I had a run crash out on me, I inevitably would go back to my VOD or I would go back to the guide and it would just be, oh yeah, I didn't do that. Okay, my fault. And then after a while, you just realize, like, okay, if you screw up, it is your fault. It
really does put that
yeah,
responsibility
which is oddly
on you.
reassuring when you're learning a speed run. Like,
I think it's right. I think we all do it like after our 10th attempt. We're like, okay, I'm just going to start reading it out loud for me and everyone else to hear.
Yeah.
Which sounds annoying, but it's probably the best thing you could do.
Yeah. I mean, I still glance over at it. It's probably a little bit of a safety blanket for me at this point, but it's there when I need it. So, also just to mention, after this series of fights will be the second break that we talked about. So,
cool.
Just so production is ready for that. First, I have to yell at Seymour.
Yeah.
I knew you were bad.
He's like, bleh. Seymour's just like, Okay.
Even
there's
there,
quite-
I defended before I attacked because that does have an impact on your turn order when you get to this next phase. So
I was going to mention this fight's so scripted. We let Seymour attack us so we can get a preferable spell in phase 3.
Mhm.
yep. There's Fish Mom.
Someone said it earlier, Annie Mommy.
Oh no, now I get it.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna be stealing here. Looks like I'm gonna steal 6 silence grenades, which is fantastic. That's what I want. Also,
Best
sorry,
steal.
Waka, you lost the lotto. Yeah. And I'm gonna be really hoping Titus just does. Titus, be normal. That's all I need you to do, please. I need him to. I'm not even gonna say it because I don't want to will it into existence. But yeah. Okay, good. He didn't miss and he didn't crit. That is all I want him to do in that fight is be normal.
That's all we hope for is don't miss the stationary creature.
Yeah, and if he crits, it's not the end of the world, but it means I don't get to steal again, probably, so. And I want all 6 of those silence grenades. That's actually really important. Also, Riku getting zapped right there is designed because that refilled her overdrive meter. Thank you, Seymour. All right, and so we're done with the fight. Once I'm done naming Shiva here, we can go ahead and pause again. So now would be great.
All right. Well, thank you so much. We're just cruising along. We're going to take one more wellness break. Look, if you're looking to get more involved with the GDQ community while we're on break, you can join the official Games Done Quick Discord, add the Hotfix Enjoyer role to yourself to stay in the loop on upcoming events, chat with staff, and more. So if you want to do that, you can use !Discord and Twitch chat for an invite and more info. Or if you want something else to do, you can catch up on past Hotfix shows, special events, and GDQ marathons over on youtube.com/Games Done Quick. So if you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to hit like the video, fill the like bucket, subscribe, and turn on notifications to stay up to date with GDQ, and we'll be right back with more Final Fantasy X right after this. Alright folks, welcome back to Passion Project, the best place on Twitch to show the world what you love the most in speedrunning and gaming. We've got Blaze and our commentators, Panda and oh my god, Sil, there we go. I was like, who's the other person? Who's the other person? I'm having a time. But we are going right back into more Final Fantasy X. Why do I always say X10 HD Remaster? Take it away.
Final Fantasy X. I love it. It's very, like, edgy.
I know, like, when I was a kid, I didn't know how to read Roman numerals, so, like, I always thought it was, like, VII for 7, and it's like, what's that mean?
Oh my gosh. I just had the random thought that, like, we're over halfway to Final Fantasy XXX now, and I don't know if they can release that. So, anyway, before we talk about that any further, let me count us back in. 3, 2, 1, go. And I'm going to do a menu. And then we're going to do some more Puzzle Church. And then we're going to get chased by some Guado. So a lot of fun stuff happening here for the next few minutes.
I like how quickly you pivoted away from that.
Yeah.
With good reason, so.
In my case, I'm one of those people who, like, in my notes when I had to, like, write up the intro for tonight's show, I was just like, I have to write the numeral 10, like, actual 10, not Roman numeral, because I will say X. And then I looked at the title on the stream, and I said X anyways. And I'm like, no, why are you like this?
So this is one of the shorter temples, but it's a little bit funny. And also, there's a reset tile in a very awkward spot that I've stepped on before during a run, and I did not know how to undo the damage that I did, and actually lost my run.
Oh
so
no.
That was fun. So I'm going to be very careful when I go out of here after I'm done solving the puzzles. But was it King or Sil? I was talking to you, and you're like, "Oh yeah, I did that too."
Oh, that me. My first run, I did that. Also, fun fact: you can run up the platform and run back into the faith room, and it will completely undo the puzzle too. And all I can do is yell really loudly because I was not amused.
There are certain things with this game that if you run it enough, you will do them exactly one time and then you will never do them again. And that is one of them.
Speedrunners are born from hardship.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Actually, very curious what the history is with y'all in speedrunning, because I know our commentators are newer to the speedrun scene. And I know Blaze here has been around for a while, but I'm curious what got y'all into speedrunning.
Yeah, I'll let them go first, and then I can talk about it after that.
Yeah.
So?
For me, so I medically retired from deployment back in 2021, but during the months leading up to it, I was not working full time. So I really started watching more speedrunners. I always kind of knew who they were. I've been watching GDQ probably since 2016. And one of my favorite speedrunners goes by the name P-Town Rocks. He was running Final Fantasy IX, which is arguably one of my favorite games. And without the step count, I remember watching and I go, I think I could do that. And I made a comment in his channel one day, and he's just like, you should do it. You go, you won't regret it. You should. Like, I'll help you out. I'll back you all through that. And so I did. I slowly started speedrunning, and I became quickly hooked. And he wasn't kidding. He's helped me out multiple steps along the way. He's giving me advice. He's giving me pointers. He's pointing me towards the Discords where you find the bigger communities full of love and support. And I remember my first completed run, the excitement that I felt, that rush. And then when I got all these various names that I saw who wrote said notes, you know, holding my hand through the finish line, it felt so good. I was just like, you know what? I'm coming back tomorrow. We're doing it again.
I do want to, if possible, we can definitely get back to that after next boss fight, but we have to talk about this next boss fight.
Yeah, go for it.
It's very random and chaotic. And I'm going to be fully focused on it, so I want Sil and Panda to talk about it, if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. We have plenty of time for story time after.
I'll be right back.
Especially through the desert.
Yeah.
This is long.
This fight's also very chaotic, so it's very stressful for me as the person doing the RNG tracking, because a lot of things might happen. All right, I gotta focus in here. Y'all go ahead.
All right. Yeah. So how does this whole thing get chaotic? What are we doing?
So the Wendigo fight. So when the grottos go down, they do finalize their last task with putting up a defensive spell on Wendigo, or I would probably call him as the Yeti multiple times. So the one we target right away does shell. The other one brings out Berserk, which makes a move hit much harder. So we had Rico throw the light current that we stole earlier to make Titus nice and defensive. And then after that, we just kind of hope he doesn't attack him in any capacity, because a crit could still quickly send this fight completely off the rails. But at the same time, we got to make sure, like, Yuna comes out for a moment, does an action. Lulu comes out and does an action.
That's the scary thing that just happened right there. I had to be very careful, because if you just attack with Titus there, you can get defeated.
Yeah.
All right, so it's 2 deaths. All right, keep going.
So this is one of those fights where you slow down, you kind of react to whatever the opponents are doing, which is more common in like other Final Fantasies, that it doesn't help when the Grotto is throwing high pots to keep the Wendigo up. It seems like it's a real easy fight, but it's got so much variability to it that could change in just a flash.
I was taking a second there at the end because I was trying to remember if Lulu did something, and she must have, because I brought her in. So, all right, I got what I needed to out of that fight, and I think it was 2 deaths, so that wasn't too bad.
But there was Kamari and Lulu.
It is very easy to die in that fight if you're not paying attention, because like what could have happened there was the Glotto could have Blizzarded, and then the only person that had a turn on my team was Titus. And if I hadn't healed Titus and then the Wendigo had punched him, that probably would have been the end of the fight. So, and not in a good way. So we're good. Anyway, now we're just in the desert. We're gonna run around, pick up our friends, and yeah, there'll be a cool
Or-
thing at the end. But for now, just we can go back to story time or whatever we want. So.
Before Panda tells his story, I gotta give a shout out to a moment Panda had in his speedrun with this specific fight.
Right.
Titus didn't have much for HP, swung at the Zoo. Zoo swung back at Titus, knocked him out. Orin will still come into the fight and yell, "Need some help!"
Yeah,
I don't know
Titus
why.
he was
The
unconscious on
funniest
the
thing.
floor as Orin ran over and said, "Need some help."
Yes, we do.
Help, please.
Yeah,
Little
yeah,
help.
please. That was good. That was good.
Yeah.
Getting into speedrunning. Wow. A big thing for me was I had I have a big interest with glitches in games, and level skips and boundary breaking.
Ooh.
And I would eventually start looking at different games. I'm like, oh, what can you do in order to like get out of levels? You know, go to places where you're not supposed to, and see if the game can like hold its own without crashing. And one of the first games that I ended up going to testing this out myself on a more complex scale was a game called Dead Space.
Oh, yeah.
Sci-fi horror game. I was looking over boundary breaking in that game, and I came across a speedrun, and I was like, "Whoa! I didn't know you could speedrun this game." And I looked into it, and I saw the player moving the character around, you know, just going through levels just fine. I was like, "Oh, so they're just running through it just fine." And then I saw one of the speedrunners place their character in a corner portion of the map, do some weird aiming and motion, and they launched themselves out of the map, zipped to be standing over the environment. And then just casually walked around as if nothing, like visually for them, as if nothing had happened. I'm sitting here, my jaw's gaping open. I'm like, what?
I'll be right back.
What do they do? That's there's no way. And I popped over to their I did some more research, and I found that there's a speedrunning Discord, and I went in there and I talked to them, and they taught me how to do this level skip. And from there they were like, have you ever expressed interest in speedrunning? I was like, I don't know, that sounds like a lot. And it was on and off, and then over time I did find out that there were runs for a whole bunch of games, from FPSs to JRPGs, you know, your platformers and such. And then I had eventually met with a friend who goes by the name of Radbring Tail, who had invited me to go to SGDQ, which happened to be in the same city as me, and I didn't even know that was even a thing that happened. So I went to my very first SGDQ, and I got to go and see him do a stage event regarding, I think it was a race with Enter the Gungeon, and there were these computers that were present that you could load up a game. I think it was like you can just practice them casually if you wanted to. And I noticed, I was like, Final Fantasy X isn't on any of these computers. That's odd. And I started to play it on the computers, and then my friend Rad said, "You do know there are people out here who do run 10 that are here." And that's how I ended up meeting Blaze and talking with him. And I expressed, you know, hey, you know, I think it'd be really cool to like run 10. It's one of my favorite games, and I would love to. What better way to play one of my childhood favorite games, but in a new way, a fresh way, for me to just even be more into it. And that's when I got introduced to their speedrunning Discord, and I jumped right into it, and I did attempt after attempt after attempt, and I don't think I got a completed game attempt of a speedrun until maybe like 45 times in.
We were there with you the whole way, though, buddy.
You were. And the very first day that I got it, it was like a whopping 4 hours and something minutes, very long. But for me, I was amazed that I could even do it.
Oh yeah.
And
Your
I was
first
hooked.
completed speedrun is so good.
Yeah, and I was hooked. And then I was like, all right, let's do it again and again and again. And we started getting better timers. And I
That was a fun
I'm
skip I
I'm
just did, by the way. Not to cut you off there, King, but that was
yeah,
a
no,
fun
that was
one.
great. I love that. There's a that plant skip there in the desert is so it's so silly. You just have an NPC just push you beyond a fight. But yeah, speedrunning has been an amazing experience, and I can't wait to see like if I can do this game, you know, what other games can I really sit down and try to learn also. But it's been wonderful.
Yuna, where
I love that when someone goes from like, I don't think I could do that to, oh, I can do this. That's what speedrunning, like, that's what a lot of things, like, a lot of people need to realize with speedrunning, I think, is that it's for everyone in some capacity.
Yeah, it was such a treat meeting King at SGDQ last year. I have a fun story about when I met Sil as well. But yeah, meeting King at SGDQ was a lot of fun. I was actually learning and mainly doing FF16 at the time, which King also at least humored me maybe in saying that, you know, he thought was cool. So, but yeah, it was. I know you actually like 16. I'm just I'm joking. But
I was excited because you had mentioned, oh, let me show you it, and you came back with the PS5. I was like, oh my goodness, he's real. He's
Yep.
serious about this.
Yep. I have to watch drops on these fights. Maybe
Yeah.
get a Seeker's Armlet here. Okay, good.
Nice.
Yeah, and then I can talk about how I met Sil after we get out of here, because that's also a fun story. So, Kamari needs to come out. Kamari's Stone Breath is very, very important in this section, so making sure I manage that okay. Oh, ambush. This is a little not great. See how this goes. This might not work. Because he's going to need a second turn.
Makes a good comment. What does everyone think that alarm is saying? Because I like to think it says, I'm in an annoying sound.
I used to hear an annoying duck.
You.
Okay, this happens. It's okay. That is just bad luck. I had an encounter. I had a ambush on that encounter, which is it happens. Hasn't happened in a while, but it does happen. So we're gonna load my autosave. I'm gonna mark 3 deaths. And what fight am I on? Okay, this one. I'm actually gonna have to track this fight again, I'm pretty sure. I'm in the realm of the unknown a little bit at this point, just to be completely honest. So we'll see how this all turns out. But I shouldn't get ambushed again unless I'm very, very unlucky. So. Over here. All right. The worst thing that might happen is I might lose my RNG tracking, which is not a big deal. I haven't really mentioned it on stream, but I've been watching a little further on in the seed, and it's pretty unlikely I'm going to get a no encounter armor on this seed. So not a huge deal if I lose it, but you know, I'd like to keep it because it's cool to be able to show off some of that. Anything that you can get out of the RNG tracking is pretty neat to show off, honestly. So.
To answer Ray's question, we're not abandoning it. It might take a little bit of troubleshooting. Because you'll just have to enter in the game over, bring back the first fight.
Yep. Okay, nothing on that one either. All right, so we're going to be running around for a second, and then I have to do another pretty complex boss fight. So, but I'm going to open these chests here. And we'll get out onto the airship. Finally, we get the airship and we get Sid. It's a real Final Fantasy game now. Yeah, bad things happened in that room. I don't think I marked the deaths yet. I need to do that.
I'm really just never gonna unhear I'm annoying, huh?
Annoying, huh? Over and over again. All right, I need to make sure I grab some speed distillers as well because I'm very behind on speed spheres. So, but okay, my tracking actually looks okay. I need to get my party right, which is Kamari, Titus, and Riku, and then I need to make sure I safety save before the Evray fight.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the Evray fight is very chaotic, but it's again one of those fights that as long as you do it correctly,
Thankfully,
the same thing will happen every time, but it can be a very tricky fight for a lot of newer runners in particular. So
thank you. All proceeds.
it's also a very weird fight with the PC version of the game specifically, because if you mess anything up and don't safety save, your autosave will not save you because it autosaves outside it, like as you're getting into the fight, and you cannot fix whatever it is that was not right. So that's why I always, when I'm doing showcase runs, I always safety save right there, just in case I messed something up, so. But we're going to use a really cool mix with Riku if one of the two of you want to talk about that, because that is probably the hallmark of this fight, I would say.
Yeah, so what we'll be doing is, initially we're setting ourselves up here for success for the fight. We only have so many turns in order to get everything taken care of with the fight before Everett does this widespread attack that does hit all 3 party members, which is its own poison breath. So we're trying to get its health down as far as we can, and to help with that, we're actually using Riku's mix ability to create a miracle drink, which is allowing us to strike with critical hits every time there. We're needing to try to make sure that Titus is maintaining his health while also utilizing his cheer ability to boost up his stats for the fight. While we try to do those attacks, 5 attacks in total, 2 cheers throughout the fight. If we have the ability to do a steal, if Kimari and Riku were alive, they would go ahead and do so. But looks like here they were out for the count. But fantastic, yeah. The fight went without a hitch.
All right, and I got a Basilisk steal. Yeah, normally ideally you want to get a steal in that fight, but it's okay. Just didn't really happen that time. All right, I need to mark 2 deaths. Good. Then I'm going to start using those speed distillers that I just bought.
Oh, wow, 4.
I think I only needed 3, but I wanted to be safe just in case.
Yeah. Man, so this is like the only real chance to use these speed distillers too. It's like safe, it's comfortable, it's consistent. Otherwise, you're gonna force encounters that you don't need to, that are a little like they're hard to navigate for no reason.
Okay.
Especially because these are forced encounters anyway, so we want to take advantage of as much as we can. So the first and the third ones we're going to throw speed distillers. The second and the fourth, the first person that isn't Titus and gets a turn, which is normally Riku, will throw a sleep powder, which puts the red guys there to sleep. If we
I was
don't,
laughing because
use...
Riku did the super long stumble animation there.
Yeah,
Riku, come on. All right, I actually think my tracking is good, so that's nice. I do need to heal Riku before this next fight, though.
Gotcha,
keep going, though.
Gotcha.
But if you do not put those guys to sleep, they'll both use flamethrower. Their attacks are actually high enough they can party wipe us if we're not careful enough. And then Kamari will go second, and he can throw any other grenade without worry. So we can use the silence grenades if we've stolen enough. If we needed more from Bikanal Desert, we could use the blind powder, or is it a smoke? Yeah, smoke grenade. The combination of the two will be enough to knock down any humanoid, and then they're susceptible to every status effect as well, just in case.
Yeah,
so
and I stole 2 sleeping powders for these 2 fights when I was in the desert.
The fight, I will admit, the second and the fourth fight always feel kind of clunky because you gotta wait for him to go down. You know, sleepy, and then navigating through the menus. So PC has a lot of issue. I don't want to say a lot of issue, but there can be like input lag from time to time. So sometimes you hit down, you feel confident you didn't go down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what about you hit?
Oh, you're good. I was gonna say I also have a relatively new PS5 controller, and I've definitely noticed it's a little like stickier. So.
Oh. Good job.
Thank you.
Panda started doing that strat lately. It drives me nuts.
What?
Yeah, you heard me.
I like to
So-
see everyone getting taken out.
There's two ways to do that last fight. I actually prefer to do the other way. However, the RNG tracker is configured to the way that I did it, where you use haste and then Riku throws two throwables. So if I have the extra throwables, I generally do it that way, just so I don't have to do a bunch of data entry. I think it's fairly negligible in terms of like the time between them. And now we are in the puzzle church that goes against the teachings of Yevon. So this is going to be a little bit of a slow section. I want to give Amber some time to talk, but I also want to embarrass Syl a little bit before, while I have the opportunity. So I talked about how I met King at SGDQ last year, which was very fun. And, you know, I'm also relatively local to Minneapolis. I live in Fargo, so it was nice to be able to occasionally see King when I went down to hang out in the Twin Cities and things like that. But yeah, Syl, how I met Syl was the Final Fantasy Relay is an event that happens every August. It'll be happening again this August, and maybe I will be running this in the Final Fantasy Relay. We'll see. But I was commentating FF16 last year, and on the FF9 squad, Syl's Discord icon is very much a tell. I will not say more than that. But I reached out to Syl. I was like, I think you're one of my people, and we really hit it off. You know, it's not very often that I find you know, other Final Fantasy speedrunners, especially new Final Fantasy speedrunners, like I did with Syl. So it was really neat just to kind of chat about, you know, his journey and get to know him some. And now he's going to be running FF9 cutscene remover at SGDQ in a couple weeks, and I am just like the proudest papa that you know, I feel a little bit like Syl got himself into the FF Relay, but I kind of encouraged him like, hey, there's also like charity events, and you should do like a charity event because they're really fun, and you know, you'll feel really good about it afterwards. So and he took me up on it, and it's been a really fun time getting to know Syl and also King. I run a community called Fastest Furs. We do speedrun events for charity, and we do a live speedrun event at Furry Weekend Atlanta. So if you're ever if you're in or around the Atlanta area and you want to see live speedrunning, that is in May every year. And Syl and I actually raced FF10, the run that we're doing right now, at FWA, and King was our commentator, and it was just like one of my best speedrunning memories, even though the run was a complete off the rails like dumpster fire. And I think for both of us at least, so it wasn't just like it was a race and we were both in the same struggle bus. It was, you know, honestly, that's the preference if it's going to go that way. But just to be there with the two of them and get to share that experience and raise a bunch of money for charity and get to show off this game that I think we all love was just a really special opportunity for me. So I really appreciate both of you's friendship, and I'm really glad that you're here for this Hotfix show as well. This is a lot of fun. So
I want to go on the record that
Absolutely.
Panda's too embarrassed to ask you to join Fastest Furs.
Now, and if you're not a furry speedrunner, but you think furries are cool and you would like to help furries raise money for charity, we do have plenty of non-furries who participate in our events as well. So you can definitely check those out. We do not have an event for a while, but our next event will be this October. We'll be raising money for Trans Lifeline. So
Yeah.
that's my little shill for Fastest Furs. I'll stop doing that now. Amber, did you want to talk about anything? Because we're going to be in this temple for a little bit longer.
Yeah, I can definitely mention some stuff with Summer Games Done Quick 2025. You can get ready for Summer Games Done Quick 2025 by checking out our SGDQ ambassadors all throughout the month of June, we're running out of time on June, oh my god. Support Doctors Without Borders by joining each ambassador's community in the lead up to SGDQ so you can raise money for some Doctors Without Borders causes with those folks, and you can use !SGDQ ambassadors to check out the full schedule. And prize submissions are open for SGDQ 2025, and you can visit gamesdonequick.com for more information, as well as perusing our hotfix page if you decide, hey, I kind of like this show. Maybe I want to submit my speedrun to it. I'm a variety show. I welcome any and all things. I've had things like Undertale run on a bicycle where the bicycle powers the main character's movement, and that was great. Or the same runner kicking this show's debut off with running Alien Isolation by controlling the game entirely with professional DJ decks. So I've definitely had some really unconventional stuff, or a couple of weeks ago, Link to the Past being controlled, or Link's movement being powered by playing the French horn. So if you like unconventional runs, or even you like competitive gaming like Pokemon or something like that, hit me up. Just go to gdq.com/ or gamesonquick.com/hotfix, find the house section, submit whatever you want to showcase here, or to any of our other amazing hotfix shows, because we've got a theme for everything, basically. Like if you've got a run, here's one show I really like shilling for is Out of the Box, and that happened yesterday, actually. Hosted by a teacher, and it's a show where if your game can be taken out of its box upon buying it, and you can just immediately speedrun it with no additional setup, like no extra programs, no like, weird key mapping problems, anything like that. If you can run it out of the box, it belongs on that show, and it is meant to prove that speedrunning can be for anybody at any level, regardless of like the amount of time you can commit to it. Just take baby steps and you can definitely do it.
Awesome, yeah. All right, we are done with that puzzle. I have a very important sphere grid coming up here, so I'm going to focus on that. And we are closing in on the latter part of the run here. So I'm going to do this. We're going to use Orin. We're going to do Orin sphere grid finally. But again, mostly to enable Yuna getting... This is the menu where Yuna gets heckin' swole, so... We love that for Yuna.
we do. I was so baffled when I found out that this is what happens during the run. I love my Aeons, and I love my summons, but my goodness, the placement of the sphere grid stats here, trying to just navigate and gaining all these strength nodes, and then starting to utilize the other party members' positions so that way Yuna can kind of jump around the board to attain these additional buffs was unbelievable. And I was like, there are fights that I spent hours, days, weeks on as a kid, and I was like, there's no way I could have done this this whole time.
Yeah,
it's so cool. It's so cool.
Yep, and Bahamut is really the engine that drives the rest of this run now. So Bahamut was the Aeon that we just got in this most recent temple. And yeah, Bahamut is driving the bus for the rest of this run pretty much, so... A little bit more here. But yeah, I'm basically just getting all this like strength and magic and agility for Yuna.
Also, folks mentioned, or folks used the SGDQ command. That's going to be live. If you don't know, it's going to be live from Minneapolis, Minnesota, July 6th through the 13th. If you happen to be local or nearby, we are experimenting with in-person, on-site registration. So if you did not remember to register, and you happen to be like, oh, I happen to be in Minnesota on that day, in Minneapolis, you can register same day. Just show up and go to check-in, and they'll take care of that.
Heck yeah. There is nothing like live speedruns. I gotta
it's
say.
True. And also, if you're going to be there... Oh, go for it.
Oh, no,
Let's
you're good.
smack things to Bahamut.
I'm making a mental... I am one speed sphere short, so I need to get that at some point. But otherwise, I'm good.
Okay. Also, if folks are going to be at SGDQ, stop by the Hotfix booth. I'll be there through the latter half of the week, but I'll be at SGDQ in general. If you happen to see me, maybe... If you watch the show regularly, you'll recognize my VTuber model. I wear similar shirts to my VTuber model, or I'll have a shiny Duskull attached to me in some way, shape, or form. Just flag me. I'm happy to talk hotfits, happy to talk speedrunning, happy to talk Pokemon, Sonic, etc. Like, I would love to meet folks who have watched the show over the years or have watched like my previous show, Never Before Seen. I just want to meet folks. I haven't been to an in-person in 5 years, so it'll be really nice to see the community again.
Yeah, that's exciting.
I'm looking forward to meeting you. It'll be fun.
Heck yeah! From one marathon organizer to another, it'll be fantastic.
Yep. Yeah, I help out with the GDQ production role as well, so I will be there in a variety of capacities over the week. But GDQ is always a good time. I always encourage people to go if they have the ability to do so. So
yeah, there's also panels. There's all sorts of activities. We have an artist alley this year for the first time, where you can check out indie devs and artists, check out their tables and everything. Go to the Frame Fatale's table, meet a bunch of people. Panels about various topics. There's tournaments. There's a Pokemon TCG tournament I want to play in. Definitely go check out everything. If you go to gamesdonequick.com, you'll probably find all of the information you're looking for there. So definitely take a look at all that.
Yeah. Yeah, just good vibes. The other thing I am excited about, I think, is, I guess maybe not technically the first time, but there's going to be an actual concert on site. So that'll be really cool. The Megas are going to be playing. So, and I believe that's also going to be streamed. So even if you're not there, you can watch that. Video game music is also something that is extremely important to me, and it's part of why I love running games like RPGs and games that have just incredible, kind of cinematic soundtracks, which isn't exclusive to RPGs. Like the Sonic series in particular has fantastic music as well. But
such a good set of OSTs.
yeah, but just video game music is really a thing that can kind of bring people together too. So.
I think one of the main arrangers behind, or composers behind the rearranged soundtrack for Final Fantasy X, I believe, is Shota Nakama, and I actually know him personally because he's a local to Boston, like I used to be. So I remember when he was getting his stuff started up, and I was still in high school, and he literally, him and his group for the Video Game Orchestra, which is his personal project when he's not doing like the Sonic Symphony or stuff for Square Enix, he literally snuck into my high school to post flyers for their very first live show in the area, and somehow got past the security, and that's how like we met, and I did an interview with him and everything, and it was just like for the radio station I used to be a part of in my youth, and it was just like really cool. Just like, and then to see him start doing stuff he did the he was part of the rearranged soundtrack for Kingdom Hearts, the HD re-releases of Kingdom Hearts as well. As well as a bunch of these, and he's done some stuff for FF14. So like, it's just really, really cool to see folks both in the speedrunning community and like non-speedrunning communities, like video game music communities, just like blossom into fantastic people and like sometimes make this a huge part of their career or a huge part of their life.
Yeah, very cool. All right, that is the end of our sequence of fights here with Isaru. So we have emerged victorious in the kind of a Pokemon battle, frankly. But we're ready to move on to the next thing, which is a long swimming section with a fight that is another really interesting gimmicky fight. You probably did when you played this game casually. We'll get to it in just a minute, but you can also just do something that is probably going to look very familiar to a lot of Final Fantasy fans, which is defeat the undead boss with healing items. Is a tradition. It's a tradition mostly. But we'll get to that fight here in just a second. I'm also gonna probably try to use the opportunity to get those last two speed spears that I need, so hopefully he will be nice.
Yeah, fingers crossed on that.
Fight. Okay. One.
Yeah, the fight with Everay the second time is real deceiving at first, because if you do allow the fight to go ahead and play out, the characters will go ahead and start swimming down these very long corridors and dragging the fight along with them. It gets a very high stakes kind of feeling to it. Or if you find out that you can just throw healing items at them, congratulations, you can still swim through those corridors that you were originally supposed to go down, but it's this unusual, just empty road as a result of you doing the fight so early.
A little lonely here. This thing needs some fauna. All right, I'm looking ahead. I am officially calling it on the no encounter armor. It is unfortunately not going to happen this run, which is fine. Not a huge deal, but I tried. That is kind of the way it goes sometimes. So
Hashtag we tried.
yes. One more thing I can look at. Good thing to do while you're doing the long swim is just sort of figure out what's coming down the pike. Okay, 4 return spheres, so. All right, but I have to do another sphere grid now. We have access to Titus's sphere grid now, so we're gonna get to the part where Titus was getting a lot of strength and stuff, including that strength sphere that we got, which is part of why winning Blitzball is so important. As it lets you put a strength sphere in that particular spot where Yuna can get it easily.
With the movements with Yuna on the sphere grid, we're going to start to see that outside of the jumping from one end of the board to the other, we're going to start to see that Yuna is going to be doing a lot less regular movement for the sphere grid. It's going to be more so we're going to start utilizing different spheres, like return spheres, which automatically teleport her to a node that we just activated, just to try to save a movement sphere level for us to go around. So we're going to be doing a lot of jumping, moving from her.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, we have a lot of levels, like King was sort of saying, so we can kind of just like pinpoint the things that we need for the rest of the run and get our characters what they need essentially. So
I'll be right back.
I've also taken a couple fights. I took one fight actually along here because I need to get a certain amount of AP for Yuna for the rest of the run, or at least for this sequence, I should say. So she's good there now. Now we get a first of a few different Seymour refights here, but a lot of the fights are going to start looking kind of like this. Yuna's going to summon Bahamut. Bahamut's going to come down and cross his arms and go, "Rawr, I'm a big scary dragon," and then he's going to go bonk, and our enemy is going to just turn into dust. So.
Yeah, we really start to see the fruits of our labor with the sphere grid navigation that we had just done prior on Yuna's sphere grid experience. So by jumping on over to Orin to increase, a lot of the stats from defense to magic to speed, and then jumping over towards Titus's route where he had placed that special strength sphere as a result of winning Blitzball. We are in a really good spot where most of the encounters that we're going to be seeing are really just going to be handled just by Bahamut, and either him attacking physically or using the impulse ability. We're going to be really just charging through towards the rest of the game on select fights here.
Yeah, and Riku is in particular is still going to help with some of the fights. I also need to steal two items from those flame flans, but I didn't want to do that one because it was an ambush. But we're coming up on the Baran and Yankee Ronso fights after this area here, the Calm Lands. And I don't have any gems right now. Okay, if I could stop getting ambushed, that would be cool. But I need two fire gems for that. And normally you steal 1 or 2 from Evray, but Evray decided to bonk my 2 characters that steal,
get through
so
this.
instead we're gonna have to do it this way. 1. And a death. Okay.
Oh.
Bring Yuna back in. Need to do that one more time. So peaceful.
This is actually like a really chill track.
Mm-hmm. Maybe that was an ambush and I just missed that. It might have been an ambush and I just... No, they all would have gotten turned then. I don't know what happened. Normally, it's like this where you can just steal and then run away, so... Not entirely sure what happened there, but it's fine.
Mm-hmm. With
All
our
right, so
two,
now we
with
got
our
our
two gem
gems.
throwables, will be great.
Yeah. Yep, we got what we needed, so now we can just kind of run out of this area. And I already did Yuna's Sphere Grid, which I occasionally forget, and that makes me very sad when I get to the next boss fight, and Bahamut can't do what I just said Bahamut does in all of the fights pretty much from now on, so don't have to worry about that. I will say one positive thing about not getting a no encounter armor is I mentioned, well, I'm wearing a Behemoth Kigu, and I absolutely adore the Behemoth designs in this game. So I specifically, when I commissioned it, got it. I basically sent them a screenshot of the Final Fantasy X Behemoth, and I was
Did
like,
you
"Make
really?
this." Yeah, I did.
Oh my goodness.
Because I'm a bad person and I don't have a ref sheet for anything that I do. I'm just like, artist, I trust you unconditionally, but
Let's get 'em,
because I'm not going to get a no encounter armor, there's a chance we will actually see some behemoths during the last little bit of the run here. So
That's cool.
So yay for that, because they are good boys. All right.
Absolutely.
All right. So this is the Defender X fight. Again, you know, Yuna is just going to kind of make short work of this. I kind of keep Titus in still, and then that enables, because of the first strike weapon, that enables basically whatever character I want to be the first character. In a little bit, I'm going to give 2 other characters first strike as well. So then I'll have like my entire party basically getting a preempt every single fight. So.
Mm-hmm.
But
The upcoming fights are going to be pretty gnarly because we're going to start to see a that variation or that random variable start to go into play where after the Buran and Yankee fight, based off of the drops, it's going to be very important to see what we get, as that determines how we navigate the sphere grid, and even down to what items that we need to get from in regards to power spheres, even beyond this section too.
Yeah. And if I was going to get a no encounter armor, I would have done it after that Defender X fight, because you run down that path to the Cave of the Stolen Faith, and the encounter where you can get the drop is in that cave. So, did not get it. That's okay. Can be tricky to get even in a seed where you know what you're doing, and you know, sometimes stuff will just whack you unexpectedly, and then you know it'll fall out of the RNG range where you can actually get it. So not uncommon that you don't get one, even with all of the good RNG tracking, which I did track all of the RNG to this seed perfectly, even with that weird death in home. So I just knew that it wasn't going to work out. So I'm going to get 4 return spheres here, a halberd, and a sorcery bangle. And now I'm going to not worry about RNG tracking anymore, because I don't really care anymore, frankly. So we're just going to go on through. I think I did actually say that we were going to take a break. So if you want to, I'm sorry for the late notice. If we want to pause the timer here, we can just do that.
Okay.
And we can take that last break. And there's a big menu. I'll do it after we get back. So
Okay, sounds good to me. Well, folks, we're going to be back in just a few minutes. This is going to be our last break of the night as we go into the final segment of the run. So thank you so much for being here and supporting GDQ Hotfix with, again, your subs, your Prime Gaming subs, gift subs, and your bits. All of those contributions do help keep our shows running. So if you like these shows and you're enjoying the stream, consider subscribing for exclusive emotes, ad-free viewing, and access to chat during our replays. And you can always support the stream by sharing the Games Done Quick channel with your friends. So no monetary investment required there, and just tell your friends. All right, folks, we'll be right back after these, not messages, these minutes of breaks. All right, everyone, welcome back to Passion Project, the best place on Twitch to show the world what you love the most in speedrunning and gaming. We are entering our final stretch, our final segment of Final Fantasy X HD Remaster with our cutscene remover mod. Blaze, go ahead and take it away.
yeah, so we're gonna hop back into it. First thing I have to do is a very important menu, which King and I will talk about a little bit as we go through here. But I'll count us back in 3, 2, 1, go. And just to kind of get everybody up to speed a little bit on something important to the run that I mentioned before we went to break. I was not able to successfully track a no encounter armor, which is okay, it happens. I did the tracking, it just didn't work out. But that means we are just going to be getting encounters for the rest of the run. If I was successfully able to get a no encounter armor, depending on kind of like the hoops that you have to jump through to get it, it can save almost 8 minutes on the run. So it is very important to get it if you can, but also your run is not dead by any means if you can't get it. So sorry, just making sure I'm on the right spot in my notes so I don't screw up my sphere grid, because that is actually completely irreversible if you mess that up. So it's not
Yeah.
good. But we got 4 return spears from Baran and Yankee. And so I want to let King kind of maybe talk about what we're doing here as a result of that.
Yeah, for sure. So, as I had mentioned there just a little bit ago, prior to our break, when doing the Baron and Yankee fight, we need to go ahead and just be mindful of the drops that they're going to be providing to us, because there's a variable that does occur. The drops themselves, you have an option of either getting 4 return spheres, or 2 return spheres, 2 friend spheres, or just alone 4 friend spheres. And based off of those drops, you need to do certain actions on the board to set yourself up for the rest of the run. Because we got the 4 return spheres, we're going to be navigating Yuna in a way to, not both Yuna and Titus actually, in a way so that way they can attain specific stat increases. Titus to get his armor break ability. Also, we're going to start to see that Yuna is going to be limiting her physical movements on the board. Normally, you just select a point on the board and you just wait for her cursor to move around naturally from node to node. We're going to start actually limiting that and saving those movement points by utilizing return spheres and friend spheres. These are going to be allowing her to activate a node that's above her and actually just teleporting up to that node on her own. So by positioning Lulu in a way that's down on the board to gain some more needed stats for Yuna, we're actually setting Yuna up for success, so that way she can eventually blip down to Lulu's position and then start making some changes to her stats that way.
Yeah.
What should I do?
And the most common thing that will happen, which is what happened this run, which is the 4 return spheres. If you get at least 2 friend spheres, you can immediately go to that area where Lulu is positioned, and for whatever reason, there's just a bunch of strength down there. I don't know why Lulu needs that. She just throws a plushie at everything, but it's there, I guess. A little bit of a, I don't know. I think they really wanted to have some fun with the sphere grid and kind of encourage players to experiment in a lot of ways, and that was an example of that. Is there's just a bunch of strength down there hidden away in Lulu's area, so we'll get back there eventually, but we just do not have access to friend spears right now, so we can't do it in an economical fashion. So for now, we're a little bit underpowered, I guess, relatively speaking, but we can still complete the fights that we need to in the meantime. So if I had the no encounter armor, I would just be running through this area and all of the rest of the dungeons, the rest of the game, without these annoying cut-ins, frankly, from these monsters who just want to play, but we don't want to play right now. So
Yeah, the encounter rate is really high up here, but it is for good reason. We're going to be coming up to a fight that, for those who had played Final Fantasy X, on the PS2, or even if you're just experiencing the game, for the first time on PC, everyone has kind of had an experience with this upcoming fight and cutscene. Some folks might even say that they know the line by line for this cutscene.
Yeah, I saw a question in the chat about what sphere grid we're using. We're using the standard sphere grid for this run. So, all right. We're also going to get to see Yuna do a little bit of bonking, which is just kind of funny at this point, because not only is Bahamut very powerful at this point, but Yuna is as well. So we have to use a silence grenade here, otherwise Seymour does very, very unpleasant things to us. Now, there is a chance that Bahamut will get a crit here, and if Bahamut gets a crit, the fight will be over, but it is very unlikely, so we'll see what happens. I'm trying to will it into existence. I doubt it will work, but you never know.
I will say, I got that crit the other day for the first time, and I was like, wait a minute, I still have like 5 things to do. What's going on?
Yeah, it saves a lot of time. But it's totally random, obviously, so...
But we'll still get the job done. No worries.
Yeah. Yeah, we've got Yuna and her magical bonking stick, so we'll be okay.
Yeah, don't worry, Bahamut. We'll pick up the slack.
You tried, buddy. We got you.
Huh.
All right, one attack from Titus, just to chip in a little. Good job. And now we'll just let Yuna kind of take it home. We need to get an overkill on this fight. Otherwise, we'll have to make up some AP later, but... as long as you stick to the script, like most things with this game, it'll be fine. So, yeah, there's our overkill. Good.
Yeah, visually, when Seymour is doing that little glowing shake of his, he was about to go ahead and do a widespread attack that was going to wipe out the party. I was terrified when I first saw that, and thankfully Sil was in the call with me, and he was like, don't worry, I know it looks bad. I was like,
I promise it'll be okay.
Yeah, I looked at him, I was like, buddy, I don't know. But it was fine. It was good.
Remember the teachings.
Yeah, remember the teachings.
Oh. Amber, I just want to mention, like, a lot of the rest of the run is kind of running from encounters and bonking things with Bahamut. So anytime you have something that you want to jump in and talk about, or if you see anything cool in chat, have anything else that you want to plug, feel free.
Oh, absolutely. I appreciate that. I am also here for the ride as we bash things with Bahamut and run from things we don't want to smack with Bahamut.
Hey, there's the behemoth. Sorry, just really
quick.
There's my boy. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'm also just kind of like passively looking at the area around the SGDQ hotel, because I have not been in that area actually. So I'm just like figuring out. I think I'm like everyone else, planning their week, figuring what am I gonna do, where am I gonna go, what am I gonna watch.
Yeah. It's a great area for an event. I'm a local, so I'm local-ish. I grew up in the Twin Cities. I don't live there anymore, but I get down there quite frequently still. So
yeah, I'm eyeing a retro game / board game store, and I was like, ooh. I love when I travel, trying like different game stores in the area, just checking them out and stuff, because I'm like a giant nerd.
Well, if it's the one I'm thinking of, it's very good. It's worth the walk over there, so...
Yeah, it's within walking distance enough, like, honestly. As long as the weather's pretty good.
Yeah. It can get a little hot and humid, so just kind of be prepared for that. I know a lot of times people if they haven't been to Minnesota, they're like, oh, it's probably just cold there all the time. And we get all of the weather is what I like to tell
Same.
people. So, yeah.
Here in New England, we do too.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'm very used to like it being really humid, or like we just had our heat wave, and then today it was like 64 degrees after hitting 100, and I'm like, what?
Yep. All right. That puzzle that I just finished can be a little bit confounding. There's a visual cue that I use where you kind of just wait for the third row, second or third. I guess it depends on how you count. But if you throw it right in the middle of that rotation, you'll hit it every time. So just do that next time.
I'll have to do. I've been counting seconds when I do it, and I
could work
miss it
too.
every now and then. Or there are times where I throw it, and I know for a fact it should go through, and it bounces back to me, and I'm like, what?
It's one of those where, like the game will lie to you. It'll be like, yeah, you didn't really get that, and it's like, no, clearly I did.
I believe at FWA when you and Sil were running this, it had done that too, and I remember you looking back at me, and I was like, no worry, I saw that too.
Yeah. No, I'm glad I got it first try though. One thing I should just quickly mention as we're going through this area, and then we'll kind of, get back to doing whatever. But because I got the 4 return sphere drops at Baran and Yankee, I have to get some extra power spheres in this area. But thankfully there are some piranha enemies that are very easy for Titus just to kind of one shot and then flee before anything can attack. So I'll just take out a couple of those as I'm going along. But if you see me doing a couple random fights, that is the reason why. So
absolutely. I saw a message there from Gamer45 asks, but you don't miss precious XP if you don't fight something. But for the run itself, we pick and choose our fights. We're fleeing from majority of the random encounters, but thankfully a lot of the boss fights will give us what we need.
Yep. Yep. The run is very perfectly calibrated, both in terms of like, again, if you're kind of following the notes and you do everything as instructed, you will not fail this speedrun. It is one of the great things about this, and I will also say it's been that way for a long time. Like, this community has been very dedicated to having extremely good resources for new runners for a long time. Even back when I joined in 2021 and started learning the run, there was a guide that was perfect. Again, like I said, you just have to follow it, and you'll do fine. And they've just kept it updated over the years, except on April Fool's Day this year, when somebody in the community, who shall remain nameless, did a Waka translation where all of the descriptive text in the notes was changed to basically being like as if Waka was teaching you, and it was like literally incomprehensible.
Right.
Like, it was like, then you do this sphere grid, brother, and you're like, I know what you're trying to say, but I can't follow this. I can't do it.
My goodness.
But it was great. It was a very good April Fool's joke. So
That's actually incredible.
yeah, except that Sil and I were prepping for FWA, and like I had to figure out on GitHub how to get an actual normal copy of the notes, because we were like, we can't use this. It was very, very funny, but I was able to do it, so go me, I guess. But yeah.
It's like, all right, let's find previous pulls to this so that we can get the right in, not Waka.
Yeah, funny jokes, but we gotta actually do something here.
Yeah. Yeah, that was good.
It's like, this is funny, but can I get it in English, please?
I think it was actually like we did a series of practice races before the event on each other's channels, and it was like the day of the first practice race, and we're just like, do we need to cancel the race? Like,
oh my goodness.
It was funny.
I could just think of the Gaston meme, where he's just holding a book and like, what is this?
Yeah. All right, we got another boss fight coming up here as soon as I get out of this cave, which I'll get at least one more encounter here. Hopefully just one more. Yep, that should be good. This is with the Sanctuary Keeper. Gonna bring Yuna back in.
Yet another big bad boss fight that we're going to be able to use our armor break ability that we just got with Titus, and Yuna is going to call upon her summon.
Yeah, we didn't really talk about armor break either, because that's the, like, that'll get you over the hump on all the stuff that Bahamut can't quite one-shot. You just armor break it, and then he'll deal double damage, so it's, like, the numbers, again, just get comical, so...
Right.
So yeah.
But be mindful, though. Armor break sometimes can miss, and oh boy, have I experienced that before.
It could still happen in this very run, even. We'll see.
I'm gonna hope that it doesn't.
I hope it doesn't, but it can happen in one specific fight. We'll talk about it when we get there. Question in chat that I'm seeing: what's a general first-time run look like? 5 hours. For the cutscene remover, I would say that's 4 to 5 hours probably.
Yeah.
If you're just like sight reading the notes, and just taking it very carefully, which you absolutely should do for a while. Like I said, I've been running this game for like 3.5 years now. I'm still improving, just because we haven't really talked too much about the movement in this game, but the movement in this game is extremely finicky. Titus controls like I like to joke he controls like a Lincoln Town Car. It's like tank controls, and it's pretty obnoxious at times. And then the fixed camera really works against you on certain screens as well. So it really takes a while to kind of figure out how to move optimally on a lot of the screens. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I'm even doing it correctly or optimally a lot of the time, but I've definitely gotten better, is what I would say. So
adapting to the game's flow and its quirks is it's just going to be through trial and error. You'll start to notice like, oh, the camera's going to start panning. So if I hold down the analog stick long enough, Titus is either going to go in the same direction or he's going to just snap on over towards the left for some reason.
Yeah, when you load onto a new screen or when the camera changes, the controls will like invert on you a lot of times too. So you can't just like hold up for an entire screen, because at some point to go up you'll need to hold down. It's very, very strange. It's one of the things about this game that is just like genuinely infuriating at times. But the top level runners have all gotten extremely good at it. So I'm getting better. I'm getting there. But I think for me, the biggest thing I've gotten better at is improvising and just feeling comfortable with like certain menus and certain boss fight strategies. Because when you can put that kind of stuff more or less on autopilot, that's when you really start to see the time get a lot better. So
yeah, that's really good. Seeing situations where you really just need to make an on-the-spot decision, and then seeing that decision really does pay off is a wonderful feeling. But of course, there are some times where you can do everything right, and sometimes it just doesn't work out. But that's okay.
Yeah.
It's a learning experience.
Yep. You'll load into a screen and you'll be, for some reason, the game will put you up to your waist or up to your neck. We didn't talk about that. That's happened to both King and I in the last week, so it's a little front of mind for us. But yeah, the cutscene remover has also gotten remarkably stable over the time since it was released. It is very, very easy to finish runs, I will say. But occasionally it will still do unexpected things, and you just have to kind of roll with it. Be aware of that, and be appreciative of the times when it does work the way that you anticipate that it will, I would say. So, all right, so we're actually in Xanner. We have gone to Xanarkand, as the song is titled, and we're running through the ruins of the city and the Blitzball Stadium, presumably. So we're gonna meet Lady Unaleska soon, who is, this great revered figure in the history of this of Spira, and as with most things in these kinds of games, we're gonna find out that it's actually not that great, and actually kind of evil, and not really who we've been led to believe that she is. So, Orin knew the whole time, he just didn't want to say anything. He's really good at keeping secrets. Yeah, Amber, if there's anything you want to talk about for a minute, this is a good time. I'm just going to do another menu on this upcoming
Okay.
screen here.
So, I've actually gone through a lot of my announcements, but for folks who weren't here in the front half of the run, did you all know that we do have a couple of wonderful dedicated communities, such as Frame Fatales, which is GDQ's all-women and femme speedrunning community. They're gearing up for their next event, Flame Fatales, happening September 7th through the 14th. You can stay tuned for the schedule release in early July. And speaking of July, if you are heading to SGDQ, you should be sure to visit the Frame Fatales table. They'll be hosting a frame changer panel and organizing 2 community meetups. Type !FF in chat to join the Discord and stay up to date with all things Frame Fatales. And also there's the Black and a Flash community. They're a community that uplifts and connects black speedrunners of all levels, hosting special events, I almost said special events, throughout the year to raise money for charity and celebrate black voices in the speedrunning scene. Learn more or apply to get involved at gdq.gg/BAF and follow at blackandaflash.bsky.social on Blue Sky for the latest updates. Special events. Oh my god.
Yeah. It's getting to be a little late here, so yeah. Hey, Amber, so I have a question for you. Do you like Tetris?
Yes, actually. I love Tetris.
All right, cool. I'm going to play Tetris for like the next 5 minutes or so.
Yo, we should talk about that Tetris 99 run that's happening at SGDQ. Huge shout-outs to my... we have Railcoon producing tonight, but usually my producer on for Passion Project is Richard or Augendrocker. He's gonna be doing Tetris 99 at SGDQ. I want y'all to look at the SGDQ schedule sometime. Tell me what you're excited for, because that's one of the runs I'm most excited for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have a very incredible group of friends who have runs in the event, so I'm mainly looking forward to their runs. I want to give a special shout out to a couple people, Rad Ringtail, who King actually mentioned earlier, is doing Blueprint Bingo with Bobby Berm. I was a Blueprint sicko briefly earlier this year, and I am incredibly excited to see that. That is going to be so much fun. I can't wait to see what that looks like. And then my good friend Mr. Shasta is running Phantom Hourglass for the first time on the GDQ stage, I believe.
Yeah,
oh, wow.
That is true. I had Shasta run Phantom Hourglass on my debut Hotfix show, Never Before Seen, which was for games and categories that had never been run on the mainline stage. And 6 years later, it's finally on mainline.
Yeah, very fitting. Shasta's extremely passionate about all of the games that he runs, and that one in particular. I know it just means the world to him that got accepted, and it's going to be a really, really memorable time. So yeah, so those are a couple of good ones. Also, Lori D. Bunnykin's doing Donkey Kong Jungle Beat with the bongos.
Yeah.
That's gonna be a blast. Just there's just a lot of friends with runs this event. I love that for the people that I know and the people that are just extremely dedicated to doing speedrunning specifically so they can show off. I mean, not just specifically, but a big part of why speedrunning is so important to a lot of us is to get those runs on the GDQ stage and be able to use them as a means for good and a way to raise money for charity. So whether it's a big event or small events, it's all wonderful that you have so many people who are dedicating their time and passion and energy to good causes like that. So,
indeed,
I'm looking for it. I was just gonna say that's really one of the things that just drew me to GDQ when I attended my first GDQ in SGDQ 2019 was my first ever in-person event.
Oh, I was at that one.
It was fun. So I got to do a donation shift while I was there. That was my first ever GDQ volunteering experience. Got to be in the room for the opening runs. And then one of my favorite memories of that event was Zallard doing a blindfolded punch out.
Yeah.
Which was just, the room was electric. I've never quite experienced anything like that. And then specifically for RPGs, Puexel closed it down with Chrono Trigger. I was in the room for that for all 5 whatever hours of that was.
Yeah, that was 3 million, right? Was that our 3 million? First
ever 3 million. Yep, it was the first ever 3 million. Just seeing people running around the room excited, and what that all meant to them. I mean, you couldn't beat it. Like, I was just hooked. I was like, I have to do this. This has to be something that is a very important part of my life for until I get tired of it. And it's 5 years later now, and I have not gotten tired of it. And it's just like, it's because of the people. It really is just because of the people more than anything else. So.
Yeah, the people are like definitely what get me to stick around. Like, I definitely speedrun a little less as I've gotten older, because I got into speedrunning in 2010, 2011, and I first saw the first SGDQ was the first one I saw, and later went to AGDQ 2014, I think was my first in-person, and just like, it was a great time, but like, as I've gotten older, I've moved more into like the hosting role, into the organizer role, and I've found my home in like my niche there. So like, if folks think that they can't speedrun a game because maybe they don't have the hand-eye coordination or the execution, or maybe they have hand problems, or there's not a run that they are motivated to learn, there's something in the speedrunning community for everybody, especially if you turn to speedrunning events. There's a role for everyone, and I mean that. Like, there are smaller marathons to get yourself started. There are plenty of small orgs like Fastest Furs, which is led by Blaze here, and I lead fast-paced events, where we like to give folks their first taste of volunteering experience. And, that sometimes leads to folks picking up runs. It sometimes leads to folks just really getting involved in volunteering, and it's great. Hi, Bahamut.
Yep, Bahamut's back, everybody. That was we had a good conversation there while we played a little Tetris, and it's time for Bahamut to bonk things again. So, and yeah, I would just echo everything that you said, Amber. I mean, I did not set out to be like a speedrunner in the traditional sense. Like, I was a randomizer player at first, and
same.
There's a lot of really great randomizer communities out there too that can really kind of get you involved in events, even if they're not necessarily charity events. So whatever you enjoy about this, there's something for you. And I would make the argument that there's a game for everybody out there too.
I agree.
You don't have to be the world record holder or anything like that. You just have to love doing it, and you have to love performing. And I think being able to perform is something that a lot of people really enjoy, that isn't talked about as much too. Just entertaining people and using that as a way to do good. So
yeah, I come from a theater background, and when I couldn't do theater anymore because I worked too much and like my sciatica got really bad, I turned to streaming and speedrunning and just entertaining people, because like my big goal is to bring joy into the lives of others, even if it's just briefly. Like, if you come in and watch my show, and the talent I have on, like folks like Blaze here, or even myself, like, can make you smile even for just a moment, we succeeded in that way. Like, just trying to make people's lives a little bit better, even if it's like just a distraction from what's going on in your life in the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you need something to put a smile on your face, go back and watch the Blitzball match from earlier on in this run. I've never had. I will be thinking about that Blitzball match for a very, very long time, because that was the comeback for the ages right there. Wish I had Al Michaels to be like, "Do you believe in miracles?" Because it was something. All right, that was good. And I've run this game 100 times at this point, I'm sure, and you still, every time there's an opportunity for something fun or cool to happen, and I just think that's neat. So. But now we're fighting Unileska. Speaking of fights that just drove me to the brink when I was playing this game casually for the first time. So, yeah, there's something very cathartic about just punching 3 times with Bahamut and having the fight be over. So, there's something very important though that we have to watch for at the end of the fight with the drops. King, do you want to mention what we're looking for to everybody?
Yeah, so by the end of the fight, we're looking for a potential drop that is going to have the ability listed as Zombie Strike embedded onto that weapon. Based off of if we get a drop like that or not is going to determine if we need to do an extra sphere grid menu. If we're unable to attain such a weapon drop from Unileska's boss fight, Titus will need to go ahead and take the lead in learning a Zombie Strike ability to
All
try
right,
to
and I got
finish
an
off the
armor,
game.
so that means I'm gonna have to learn Zombie Strike. So
Okay.
yeah, the thing there is if Unalesca drops a weapon, it will have Zombie Strike, which again, very interesting environmental storytelling because that will be very helpful for the final encounter of the game. So this game left little breadcrumbs all through it that you didn't realize when you played it for the first time, I bet. So
It really did.
All right, so now we're going to be getting back on the airship, and we're going to be getting ready for the final set of encounters and the final dungeon. So we're going to just kind of be running around the airship for a little while, unfortunately. Especially in the cutscene remover, it just feels like that's all I'm doing for like the next probably 10 minutes or so. But
Right.
anyway, this airship, I've worn a path in the halls of this airship at this point, so...
I promise. I mean, the different areas that we're running back and forth, and the screen flashing, and we're moving the cutscene. There is interaction with these characters happening at the moment. There's reason why we're running around on the ship like this.
Yeah.
But my goodness, when I first was doing the speed runs for this, I was like, I'm so turned around. What's going on?
Yeah. Do I talk to Sid? Do I go back and find Yuna? Do I go out on the deck? And the thing is, like, when you're playing the game casually, like, you're actually supposed to do, like, side content or other stuff during this part. But we're just going to basically trigger the final sequence, which unfortunately involves a lot of time on the airship, so...
And yes, to answer the question of what did they do to boost Bahamut's offense so much, they made Eunice. Well, chat already answered that for us.
Yeah. One little tidbit that I did not realize until I actually started speedrunning this game is the entity that I was just talking to there in Highbridge. That is Bahamut. That is Bahamut's, I guess, like, faith, I think is what they would say. So he's wearing a hoodie, and if you look at the back of the hoodie, it actually has that really cool, like, circle, the ornamental circle that you'll see on Bahamut's back when I summon him, and I just thought that was such a cool touch. And you also interact with that NPC within the first, like, 5 minutes of the game, and the circle is there. It's just, like, it's so well, like, tied together. The way this game lays out its story and does some of that is... Like I said, little breadcrumbs, but it's such a tightly well thought out story that way, with a lot of the details especially. So anyway, just a little tidbit for everybody.
You know, I love going back through a story-heavy game that I really liked. For me, and like seeing what they breadcrumbed, like for me, that's like a mix of like the Great Ace Attorney, like replaying that after playing it for the first time. It's like, oh my god, they were foreshadowing this in this way. Or when I've replayed Pokemon Gen 9 multiple times because of competitive Pokemon and stuff, but like seeing different ways they foreshadowed like the huge twists at the end of the main story. I'm like, wait a minute. I thought nothing of that the first time through.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really cool for sure, and just they didn't have to do it necessarily, you know. That's the other part of it too. It's almost like little Easter eggs almost. So
the first person saying that they need to play more of the Great Ace Attorney and they played the first 2 cases of the first game. I love the Ace Attorney series, and for a long time, the first Ace Attorney game was my favorite. Great Ace Attorney, both 1 and 2, are by far my favorite in the series, like both musically and narrative. Like, it cannot be topped for me. Like, you need to go back to those games.
I think a game that is very front of mind for a lot of people right now, that has a lot of influence from this game specifically, is Clair Obscur, Expedition 33, which is really has a lot of Final Fantasy X in it. I have not finished it yet, but I imagine that game is also kind of like rekindling a lot of interest in this game and these kinds of games in particular. But yeah,
variety of titles that it drew its inspirations from. I recently got the chance to finish the game not too long on broadcasts, and I had people come in saying, I've never played turn-based RPGs before, and now that I've been playing this, I want to know like what else is out there. And I was like, well, there's a wide selection of games that you can go and check out, from titles like Persona, or if you want to go back and check out some classics like Legend of Dragoon, or play Final Fantasy X. Like, you'll start to see bits and pieces of all these different games that Expedition did pull from.
For sure.
And it's so cool. It's so cool that people are getting into it.
Yeah, I would say if you're new to RPGs and like Clair Obscura was one of your first, go play this game. I think you will probably enjoy the story quite a bit, because there's a lot of parallels and a lot of inspiration there. So you'll have a good time. Recently for me, an experience I had with that, and I'll shout them out a little bit because they announced their DLC today, but Chained Echoes is a newer game, was kind of the hot indie darling RPG a couple years ago. I had never finished Chrono Trigger before, and Chained Echoes drew a ton of inspiration from Chrono Trigger, which is, I think if you ask a lot of people, they will say that Chrono Trigger is the best or their favorite RPG of all time. But yeah, I went back and played Chrono Trigger to completion for the first time after playing Chained Echoes, and it was just such a great experience, I have to say. Kind of playing the game that drew so much inspiration from it, and then going back and playing that original was a really wonderful circle, I would say. So also, we booped the snoot there. I have to mention that really quick. So
Someone mentioning Phantasy Star 4. I didn't play the traditional or the Genesis Phantasy Stars at all, actually. I got into the series via Phantasy Star Universe well after the servers had shut down on PS2, so I just played the single-player narrative with Ethan Weber and really loved it, even though it's like a little campy. It's got like an anime opening for every chapter of the story, and I was eating that up in middle school. I loved that game. I didn't get to play an online version of any Phantasy Star until PSO2 was out in Japan, and I played the Japanese version for a long time.
I'll be right back.
There's a lot of JRPGs I haven't gotten into. Like, I know that we talked about like what our first Final Fantasies were, and I mentioned mine was Dirge of Cerberus, but my second was Tactics, War of the Lions, so the Tactics remake on PSP. I got really hooked on that, and Disgaea 1 at the same time for quite a while, and then I had the great data loss of 2009. And lost all my data, and I haven't been able to commit to a JRPG since, and it's made me really sad.
That's crazy. I would love to play Tactics. I think, what was it? They announced
there's a remake coming out, yeah.
There's a remake.
Yeah, there's another remake, rather.
Yeah, that'll be fun. Tactics, Final Fantasy Tactics was like the first real tactical RPG I ever played, and
same.
It has a very special place. In part because of how frustrating it was and just how memorable that made the experience, but I learned a lot playing that game, I guess, as far as save management. I think like a lot of people. But yeah, that'll be a really fun remake and nice addition to the series.
Yeah.
I do wanna also just mention, because this might seem a little weird to people, but I've also speedrun Final Fantasy 16. That's the only other mainline that I've done serious work on as a Final Fantasy speedrunner. Final Fantasy 16 gets a lot of negativity, I would say, for certain aspects of it, but it is one of the funnest games I have ever played from beginning to end. And I still, even right now, I'm kind of taking a break, and I'm just kind of like thinking about it all the time. And you know a game is good when it kind of gets in your head that way. So
yeah.
If I would give Final Fantasy 16 a chance, even if you're more of like a turn-based or traditional JRPG person, the combat is not particularly difficult, and I do think it might be a game that a lot of people really enjoy. that they gave a pass to maybe unnecessarily. So that's my little plug for FF16 as someone who did not particularly like 12, 13, or 15 when they came out. So
Do you think it could be a good entry point for someone in the series, considering the combat's on the easier side?
I mean, it was easy enough for me to get into it as someone who's really bad at like action combat. So yeah, I definitely think it is possible. So yeah, I'm a fairly mediocre FF16 speedrunner, and it's a blast every time I get a chance to play that game. So. But yeah, Final Fantasy has just always been such a cornerstone series for me, but there's a lot of really good RPGs out there. Also, I just did Quint 9s to Seymour. Sorry, Seymour.
You got
While
your
we were
break.
chatting,
That was
Bahamut
great.
was doing Bahamut things, yeah. King, I know you're a huge Kingdom Hearts fan. Did you want to give a plug to Kingdom Hearts at all?
Oh my god, well, I'll try to limit myself because
there's only about 10 minutes left in the run, so I mean,
I know.
if
Oh,
you have
not
to limit
enough
yourself
time.
a bit, probably. Yeah,
I know. Yeah, Kingdom Hearts, absolute big fan of the series itself. Surprised, like the only reason I ever got to get to play the game was because my mom had seen the box at the store, and she knew that I loved Nightmare Before Christmas and saw Jack Skellington on the back of the box and was like, "Oh, he'll like this," not knowing just what she had given me. I launched the game and I found out, oh, Final Fantasy and Disney characters, and like one of the first characters you meet is like a kid Titus and Waka, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is the best thing in the world.
I had no clue who any of them were when I played Kingdom Hearts 1. I'm a Kingdom 1 Hearts like defender.
I didn't know Selphie even was from a Final Fantasy game because I didn't know, because I'd only ever played 10. So I was like, this is insane. But yeah, big fan of that series. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited for new entries for the game. Hopefully we hear something for KH4 soon, but
yeah, I remember the reason I got into Final Fantasy at all, or tried a Final Fantasy game, and ended up how I ended up on Dirge of Cerberus was because I played Kingdom Hearts and Kingdom Hearts 2, and I was like, I should probably look at this series at some point. And then ended up on Dirge of Cerberus because I was really big into the Ratchet and Clank games, and I was like, I like TPSs, let's do that. And I'm also a goth, so like Vincent was a huge appeal to me.
Yeah, Vincent, my Valentine.
All right, so I am entering Nucleus, which is kind of the end area before the last couple boss fights. I am running around trying to pick up 10, we'll just say crystal eggs. I don't know exactly what else to call
eggs,
them, but
masks, pearls.
Yeah.
I've heard so many different things with them.
Yeah, this is kind of like you're getting some really, really powerful items, but also there's only really one real fight left in the game. But I'm also trying to avoid getting hit by these spikes because they'll throw me into an encounter. The eggs seem to kind of spawn in a circular pattern. I'm still learning a little bit how to navigate around this map. You'll notice there's actually like no mini-map at all. Oh, I just missed that one. Darn.
Ooh.
Once I kind of get into a rhythm, I can usually kind of go around in a circle and figure out where the next one is going to be. If not, you just kind of get as far away from the camera as you can, or let the, give yourself as big of a distance view as you can, and then just sort of see where they spawn in. So
yeah, how they operate is like they'll appear onto the map for just like a set amount of time before they fade. So then you'll have to start really making the decision on whether or not to go for it or to look around and wait for the next one to appear.
And the game will not let you leave until you get all 10, so I need to get 3 more. I'm not going to get to that one.
I think it just put it in the same spot.
Might have. Here, we'll let you try that one again. That one. We're schmoo. This is the schmovement section. Oh, there it is. Okay, nice.
Very good.
I could have turned around and just completely missed that one. So, all right. So I have one more menu and then 2 more boss fights. I need to remember to teach Titus zombie attack because I did not get a zombie strike weapon. But that is about the only thing that could go wrong, I want to say, without hopefully jinxing something. But yeah. Yuna needs a little bit more speed for this last fight. Actually, a lot more speed, like 10 more speed. And then she needs an ability for the final boss, Spare Change, which in true Final Fantasy fashion, we're going to solve a big problem in the game by throwing money at it. Anybody who's ever played like Octopath will... This will look very, very familiar to you, probably. So
yeah, we're getting our coin purses out for this one.
Yep. Alright, so Spare Change, and then Attribute Sphere to get 4 more agility, and then Titus needs to go there. And the slowest moving, I swear, it's the slowest moving circle in the entire game. We're just waiting for it to get up there, like, come on. Come on, buddy.
There
You've
are
already
times
been there.
where I have to move the cursor, and the cursor's off screen, and I sit there and I'm like, did I press confirm?
Yeah.
I hope
you're like,
confirm.
did I hit the button? Am I just like sitting here doing nothing? Yeah, but we're good. And then I'm going to make a request of chat, which is we're going to get to a point in the fight, and I'm going to need y'all to put in the chat meme beam, because we need the meme beam to make this fight go a little bit faster. So we're not there yet. I will let you know, but prepare your meme beams. Also, this track rules.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it does.
Not enough, because he's got 2 phases, so... This is another boss that killed me infinity times while I was playing the game casually. He's very mean. All right, chat. Now is the time. Meme beam, meme beam, meme beam, meme beam.
Nah.
Oh well. It came up really quick. For some reason, I thought I had a little more time to get the chant going, but yeah, we want him to do an ability called Ject Beam there. I believe it's like a 1/3 chance to get Ject Beam versus 2/3 of him swinging his sword. If he uses Ject Beam, you don't have to watch any of this animation. It saves about 30 seconds. All right. Meme bean, yeah. All right. But yeah, thank you for lending me your energy, chat. This is the we'll call this the victory lap here. So really interesting story dynamics here. So the actual ultimate big bad of Final Fantasy X is Yu Yevon, who is in fact an undead summoner, and he inhabits aeons to sort of elongate his life, and then eventually that aeon will get defeated. He'll have to kind of like go back into hibernation, but then 10 years later he'll be strong enough again to become Sin. So the solution to this is no more aeons, which means that all of our wonderful friends that we have been traveling with the entire game, we need to say goodbye. But we're going to leave them with some nice parting gifts. We're going to give them some money, and you can go buy yourself something nice, everybody.
We're giving them a severance package.
Yeah. Now the nice thing about part of why we do spare change, and if Syl was Syl had to duck out a little early for work, unfortunately, but if Syl was still here, Syl has a great story about this that I didn't even realize. The Aeons have extremely high evasion, and spare change has a 100% chance to hit, so that's why we use it. So. Yeah, we're gonna go through our. We only have 5 Aeons. If you had done the optional Aeons in the run, there are multiple of those. You would also have to defeat them here in the final circle, I guess. But yeah, we're just gonna kind of throw money at our problems, and then we'll be getting on out of here. This has been a very, very solid run, aside from the Blitzball scare, which was mostly just fun because it ended well. And then I would have liked to have manipulated a no encounter armor for the GDQ showcase, but it just wasn't in the cards tonight, and that's okay. So. Also, just as a fun little note about this run, I am running my splits on the side here, and I mean we paused and we took some breaks, and we had the unexpected pause earlier in the run if you've been here the whole time, which is okay. You know, stuff happens, but I mentioned right around when we were talking about the no encounter armor that it saves about 7.5 to 8 minutes. This run I did not get the no encounter armor, and I'm running against my PB, which obviously I did get the no encounter armor, and I'm going to be almost exactly 7.5 minutes off of my PB, so there you go. It's always a little sad for the ones that you don't use during the run. So, like, you don't use Ifrit and Shiva at all. You're like, oh, yeah, you're still here.
Me crying sad because I adore Shiva.
We used to have one instance in the run in the old route where you maybe had to use Ifrit. And it was just like Ifrit's time to shine if you ran into... It was part of a backup strat for the boss that we skip now at Mushroom Rock Road.
Really?
And it, like, yeah, you'd be like, oh, yeah, Ifrit. I remember Ifrit. He's doing stuff. But yeah.
Oh, the boy.
Yeah. Now we get to say goodbye to best friend Bahamut. Bye, best friend.
Shiva used to get used in a lot of the old routes before strong Yuna's strats, because she's really fast and has decent damage. Oh, wow.
I believe that, yeah. Yeah, I just, I never ran on the old route, but I know it involved a lot of Riku mixing and lucky sevens and things like that, so.
Oh, goodness.
That was before my time. Swole Yuna had been discovered.
She was still hitting the gym.
Yeah. She had discovered the gym, yes. Alright, zombie attack, and that inflicts
there he
the
is.
zombie
He
status.
He is a bug.
Time will be coming up in just a few seconds. We're going to throw a Phoenix down. And... time.
Good job.
Thank you. I had a 3:25.52 on my end, which is very, very respectable. This would have been a excellent time for me about 6 months ago when I was starting to get back into the run again, and really just kind of solidifying my understanding of the game with the new MRR skip and all of those strats. And I just keep practicing. I never get tired of playing this game. It's kind of my comfort game in that way, and I'm really glad I got a chance to show it off tonight for everybody. So thank you for watching, and thank you so much, Amber, for having me on your show. It really means a lot to me, so I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks. It's not an Amber show if they don't mute themselves. But I was gonna say, yeah, thank you so much for agreeing to do this run, because I've reached out to you in the past for Hotfix and the scheduling didn't quite line up. So it's nice to finally have you on the show and get to showcase your comfort game. Like, I love comfort speedrun games. It's great. And do you want to go ahead? Do you want to do shout outs as we wrap things up here?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't have too many shout outs on my end. I just, if you enjoy watching RPG speedruns in particular, you can certainly follow me, twitch.tv/moonblazewolf. I usually stream 2 or 3 times a week. I'll usually be running this, or I might start running Chained Echoes again soon, or get back to FF16. TBD on that. But there's always a game that I'm working on, or something that I'm working to get better at. But yeah, and then if you're at SGDQ in a couple weeks and you see me wandering around, feel free to say hi. I always love talking to speedrun fans, and in particular, if you're an RPG speedrunner or somebody who wants to get involved in marathons, I'm always happy to discuss my experiences and my journey, because my journey is very special and very unique to me, and there are probably people out there who are on a similar speedrun journey, and just being able to sort of talk about that with people always just really inspires me. All of the interesting folks that are involved in our wonderful, silly, random hobby, because we love these video games so much. So yeah, always happy to chat. Hope to see some of you at SGDQ, and that's it for me. King?
Yeah. Well, first off, a big thank you to Blaze for inviting me to join in and help commentate on the game that I absolutely adore. To Sil for joining us for the time that he was able to, to share with us. Having a lot of fun while we were navigating through the beginning portions of the game and that absolutely gnarly Blitzball title. Amber, thank you for your wonderful hosting. The folks over at here at GDQ Hotfix and Passion Project crew, all big thank yous. I also, just like I mentioned in the past, I've also just started to slowly get into speedrunning myself, starting in December. Final Fantasy X, I do the true RNG cutscene remover runs. So you can always find me over there at twitch.tv/kingpanda95_, where I'm still learning. I'm doing what I can. I'm having fun with it. It is also my comfort game. And I get to hang out with my friends. Shout out to Connor Pats and Scintilla VT, who keep me sane and grounded as I navigate through the game. But yeah, thank you.
And really quick before we throw it back, since Sil had to leave early, I just want to plug again. Silly, who had to duck out early to go to work, but incredible RPG speedrunner, extremely talented, and is going to be showcasing the FF9 cutscene remover at SGDQ on Saturday morning. I'll be on the couch for that run. I'm so stoked for it. FF9 is just such a beautiful game, and Sil is going to do a fantastic job. So hope you'll join us for that on a finale day of SGDQ in a couple weeks.
Yeah, that's going to be an awesome run. And I'll also be at SGDQ, so like Blaze here said, if you see me floating around, feel free to say hello, because my next Passion Project episode isn't until after SGDQ. We're looking at July 17th. And that will be, again, that will be a Thursday. Normally we're on Fridays every other night, or every other week. But due to SGDQ, it has nommed my show for that week, so we are moving me to Thursday the 17th next month. But you can also see me at SGDQ floating around at the Hotfix table. So thank you all so much for being here tonight, and please look after yourselves and your loved ones. Drink some water, stretch your legs, eat a snack, take your medication or your vitamins if you need to. And remember that you are valid, you deserve the best, and the world is a better place with you in it. If you missed out on As Seen on TV or this episode of Passion Project, you should stay tuned as we replay both shows right after this. And tune in tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern for Do All the Things in Parallel Universe. I'll see y'all on the other side at SGDQ. Bye.